on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. Donald Trump says Denmark cannot protect Arctic territory.
The US president has repeated his demand for the US to take control of Greenland.
It comes as the Prime Minister insists the European Union mustn't launch a trade war with the United States over fears they might take the territory.
All of this as today marks exactly 1 year since President Trump returned to the White House, with protests expected in Washington, D.C. later today.
Is there going to be yet another Labour U-turn? Sir Keir Starmer opens the door to Australian-style social media bans for under-16s after more than 60 Labour MPs urged him to consider the move.
In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal today that the UK's 43-force police system is buckling under pressure and failing to tackle modern crimes.
Prince Harry says the constant stress of reporting by the Daily Mail on his personal life left him paranoid beyond belief and caused him massive strain on his close relationships.
A new study finds education is the most important dividing line in attitudes towards immigration and support for right-wing politics. So today we are asking, are less educated people more anti-immigration?
Deadline day for the decision on whether to grant China permission for a new London super embassy.
And Brooklyn Beckham speaks out. It's the family feud that has gripped the nation as Sir David and Victoria's son accuses them of prioritising brand Beckham over their children and ruining his wedding day.
And sport this morning, Brighton and Bournemouth play out a 1-1 draw with a disputed penalty and a brilliant last-minute overhead kick. The Champions League's back tonight. Tough game for under-pressure Spurs manager Thomas Frank with Dortmund and Morocco threatening legal action after the bizarre AFCON final that they lost on Sunday.
a little bit brighter out there today for many places, and many places will be dry. But the main exception will be in the south and west, where a band of heavy rain moves in, and we've got a warning in place for the winds. Warning in place later in the week across eastern Scotland for the rain as well. Full details on all of that coming shortly.
Hello there, very good morning to you, whoever you're watching and listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Well, welcome back, Eamonn.
Yeah, welcome back.
Feeling a bit better?
Surprised you missed me.
We did miss you. You know we missed you.
It wasn't the same.
I haven't stopped coughing and sneezing in a week.
No.
I stopped today.
How many sneezes do you reckon you did since I last saw you?
Thousands.
Do you think thousands of sneezes? Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it was super flu? Do you think that's what you had?
Probably.
That was doing the rounds, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was flu. It was sneezing. Sneezing. I don't know what it was. Sneezing, coughing. Don't know if that makes.
But you're feeling better for a rest?
Yes, I'm feeling better. What have you got this morning?
Well, I wanted to talk about Brooklyn Beckham.
Yeah.
Because he went nuclear last night, didn't he? He posted on his Instagram story saying that he doesn't want to reconcile with his family. They've had this feud going on for a few years now, him and his wife, Nicola Peltz Beckham, and the rest of the Beckham clan. And now it appears he says that his parents controlled his life and that his mum ruined his wedding day. Incredible stuff.
It's all a bit sad, really.
It's very sad.
At any family, and it breaks up. It's all a bit sad. Of course, we look at it, don't we, and think, oh, there's Beckham, and then there's this, and this is all exciting, and they've got so much money, and they've got so much it doesn't really matter. But we're still family breaking up, which I think is really quite sad.
And he'll probably regret cutting off his parents and his siblings as well. I mean,
when he's got no money coming.
Well, he is married to a billionaire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. That does help.
But his sister's Harper is only, 14, 15?
So that's it. So it's not only the parents, as far as we know, it's the whole family, right?
Yeah, it's very, very sad.
Bizarre.
So I'm not sure if there's any coming back from this after it's gone so bad.
But there is something in that brand, though, isn't there? I mean, he talks about brand Beckham.
Yeah.
But everything is got to make sure the brand is all complete. It must be a bizarre way to live. Must be a bizarre way to live.
It's so very sad. Anyway, let us know what you think about it. gbnews.com/you'll say.
And we'll be hearing what Paul thinks about today's sport in about 15 minutes' time. President Trump says Denmark cannot protect Greenland as he repeats his demand for control over the Arctic territory.
Danish soldiers have landed in Greenland after the US president refused to rule out military action, telling Europe they should focus on Ukraine following opposition from NATO allies.
Now, this comes as Norway's Prime Minister publishes a text message from President Trump, who said he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace after not being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize last year.
Well, in response, Sir Keir Starmer has urged the EU not to hit back at President Trump and retaliate to US threats of tariffs.
Use of tariffs against allies is completely wrong. It is not the right way to resolve differences within an alliance. A trade war is in no one's interest.
Now, all of this comes ahead of President Trump's speech, which will be at the World Economic Forum in Davos tomorrow, as today marks 1 year on from his return to the White House.
Well, joining us now is US political analyst Eric Ham. Very good morning to you, Eric. What do you make of President Trump and this letter in which he says, I no longer think purely about peace?
I tell you what I think of it. He's mental. He's deranged, Eric. I'm being serious. People here really are questioning this man's mental health. And he had a lot of support in the United Kingdom, and it is flying out the window.
Well, I think that's the ball game. I absolutely agree with you. And I think what we're seeing from the president is he's saying the quiet part out loud. This is a man now who has made clear that he intends to make war, make mayhem, chaos, not peace. And he's doing so with a shot across the bow, not just for Greenland, but going after all of the United States allies with these proposed tariffs on 8 European nations. And in addition to that, I think what we're seeing from this president is he's making clear that treaties, pacts, these international agreements, they simply are fluid and they only mean anything if they actually advance his own self-interest. And play out right now. And quite frankly, I think you're seeing many global leaders becoming fed up with this president. And I think we'll see that play out in Davos, particularly when the president is trying to woo many of these leaders to join his board of peace to help serve the redevelopment of Gaza.
Could be very tense discussions in Davos this week, couldn't there, Eric? We've just had a line from President Trump talking about Denmark, saying that Denmark can't protect Greenland. He says they're wonderful people, but they don't even go there. We have to have it. We have to get this done. They can't protect it. What do you make of those comments?
You know, the problem is the president used a false narrative when going after Venezuela, and the press and even many within the president's own party simply said nothing about it and let it happen. And I think one of the reasons they did so is because of just how distasteful Nicolas Maduro was. And so I think the president has read this all wrong, because this false narrative that the president is attempting to use simply doesn't hold water. We know Greenland, which is a part of Denmark, is a NATO ally. And in addition to that, the United States does have massive military assets actually on the ground. So clearly the United States is providing military security, not only to that Arctic pathway, but also to all of Europe. And so if the president decides to move forward with this, I think we will see just how vulnerable the United States is, particularly if many of these European countries actually ask many of these military, much of the U.S. military in these respective countries to actually leave.
Eric, how vulnerable is Trump himself? I mentioned there at the start of our chat that there were a lot of question marks over his mental health, for instance. And if you go on social media, you will see a lot of theories, a lot of worries that this man is not punching to his full weight on this one, and that there may well be something mentally wrong with him. Do you put any faith in those claims?
Look, we don't really know what is actually driving Donald Trump. I suspect it will take someone with more experience and understanding of the human psyche to actually understand the president. However, in terms of what we're seeing this president and this administration attempt to try to foment policy-wise, what we're seeing here is this is becoming increasingly dangerous, not only for Europe, but more importantly for U.S. national security interests. And I think it is incumbent upon the check and balance system in Washington, namely Congress, as well as the Supreme Court, to actually do what is necessary to rein this president in.
In the past 12 months of Trump 2.0, we've seen this reshaping of the world order, especially in the past few weeks. Questions about NATO, questions about the Atlantic Alliance. How much of this do you think is down to Trump and things will go back to normal by the end of his second term? And how much do you think is structural? How much has the world changed forever because of his presidency?
You know, I think that's a really good question. And I know even here in Washington, you hear a lot of people say that, especially Democrats. It's why many people actually see the opposition party as feckless and anemic at this point, because it seems as though everyone is just waiting for the president to actually step away from the global stage. But what we're seeing here is these are structural problems within the United States right now, and they're not going to just automatically snap back in place once President Trump leaves. A lot of what we're seeing right now, the damage that has been done is damage that has actually been implemented and put in place by the Supreme Court itself, an entity that now operates more like Donald Trump's own personal law firm, more so than an independent branch of government.
Eric, let me ask you this. Why has the Greenland issue come to the fore at the moment the way it has? I mean, you know, we could have entered this debate any time in the past few years. Does he really care about the security issue, or is this about mineral wealth? Or what do you think of it with your perspective on things?
It's not about security. The United States is already there militarily, so the security issue is off the table. This is about, as you mentioned, rare earth minerals, and the president desperately trying to catch up to China, because we know when China implements those export controls on the vast amount of mineral resources that they hold, that makes the United States more not less vulnerable. And so the president is doing what he can, which is why he went after the oil in Venezuela. And given how easy it was for him to do so, and with very little pushback, the president now feels emboldened and believes that he can push over Europe and do the same in Greenland as well.
And can he?
I think he can. I think the last thing Europe wants is to have two of the largest nuclear powers with their weapons pointed directly at them, Russia and the United States. And I think what the president is doing with this threat of tariffs is now the president making clear that while he will not begin with a military invasion, he will attempt to do so economically.
Okay, Eric, always good to talk to you. Thanks for your analysis on taking things. Really appreciate that. We've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
It'll be interesting to see if there's... thanks, Eric. It'll be interesting to see if there could be a climb down from President Trump, though, because The Times is reporting that when him and Keir Starmer spoke on the phone on Sunday, President Trump admitted to misinterpreting the fact that NATO troops were in Greenland. He saw it as a threat, when actually they were just there to address security concerns. So that was apparently cleared up on the phone call between Keir Starmer and President Trump. Whether that changes anything, we don't know. But it's quite interesting.
Interesting's a good term. Fraser Myers is in the studio with us now, the deputy editor at Spiked Online. Fraser, how concerned are you by this? I mean, we can all read into the repercussions of this, you know, if he stands by his guns on this. What do you think?
I think he really wants Greenland. I think that obsession is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
you know
been
what gets me? Again, it's the lies in politics. Forget all that this is about defence or whatever it is. This is about mineral wealth. Would our attitudes change if he came out in the open and said, look, I want to make some money out of this. We need to do some of this. Or would people just hate him more?
I think every justification he's given is pretty outrageous, because even if it is about defence, and there is, you know, an argument for saying that the West needs to better defend the Arctic from Russian and Chinese influence, you think, well, why can't you work with the Greenlanders and the Danes and NATO and your allies to do this? There is no reason why America would need to own Greenland in order to make this happen. Even if it's about the minerals, again, you know, why is it not possible to strike some sort of deal for American companies if he thinks the Danes are not exploiting these minerals? Why can't there be some kind of deal struck?
But Fraser, who's he speaking for in the US? I mean, is there a lot of support for, you know, wanting to own Greenland or wanting to be involved in Greenland within the country of the United States?
No, there absolutely isn't. 85% of Americans oppose a military intervention. 55% of Americans oppose buying it. And, you know, experts estimate that if you were going to put a price on Greenland, it is possible to do these things, unfortunately, it would cost about 2/3 of the entire annual military budget. It doesn't make sense to most Americans. I think it might make sense within Team Trump. I think they are, you know, very serious about this, but everyone else is scratching their heads, baffled as to why, if the reasons that he's stating openly are the reasons, why can't we come to some sort of agreement? Why can't there be more collaboration over Greenmark, more American military bases in Greenmark, more American companies in I keep saying Greenmark, Greenland. Sorry,
yeah.
It's Denmark who we're offending here. Yeah, none of it seems to make sense to anyone. He hasn't made a case to the American people either.
Can we talk about politics at home? And the government is reportedly drawing up plans to ban under-16s from social media. Now, Keir Starmer ruled this out just a few weeks ago, but now it seems as though his backbenchers, ever powerful backbenchers, have had their say.
Yeah, it does show that the backbenchers really do run the show in this quite weak Labour government. There's a range of proposals being put on the table. It could be that immediately Ofsted, the schools inspectorates, can start going into schools and looking at their policies on mobile phones. I think that's infinitely sensible. I don't see why children should be spending time on their mobile phones in school anyway. They could tell off teachers for using their phones in front of kids, and I think that's fair enough. It looks unprofessional. But then the question is, when you get involved in questions around tech, that's a lot more difficult. I think Australia has implemented this social media ban. It would be useful, I think, to have a look and see how effective it is. many children are quite tech savvy. They're quite good at getting around these rules. There's been a huge rise in the number of VPNs, or virtual private networks, which allow you to change your location, change your IP address. That's happened in Australia. That's also happened in the UK, where we have the Online Safety Act. One wonders, what is the point of the Online Safety Act, actually, if we're going to have this ban on social media for teenagers? The whole purpose of that was to say that accessing the internet would be child-friendly, and things that are adult would be blocked off. Clearly, that isn't working in some way. That isn't having the desired effect, even though it's this massive landmark piece of legislation with a huge amount of enforcement options. So you do wonder what has driven Keir to take this quite big decision.
Talking about bans and enforcement, Kemi Badenoch, what sort of position is he in now in terms of defectors to Reform UK?
We're expecting a big one today, aren't we? A Labour defection.
We're expecting a Labour figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, which will be interesting, because there is, I think, a bit of a danger for... well, clearly, you know, the recent defections have struck the biggest blow to the Conservatives. It shows where the direction of travel is in politics, that Reform really is the kind of the sun around which other parties orbit. But a Labour figure will be interesting, because that will help Reform to essentially get rid of this idea, or counteract this idea that it's just a dumping ground for ex-Tories, disgruntled Tories. It might allow them to reach across the aisle to many people who might be more traditional Labour voters. We don't know who it is. I have my suspicions, but let's see.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to say what your suspicion is?
My suspicion is, just based on looking at her Twitter feed, I'm going to guess Kate Hoey, just because she was absolutely in fulsome praise of Andrew Rossendale, the Tory MP who recently defected, saying what a wonderful defection it is. She seems to agree with Nigel Farage on a lot, on Brexit, on the culture wars, on a lot of international affairs and things like that. So that would be my guess, but it is purely a guess. I don't have any inside information.
And would Kate be of any value to Reform?
I think so. Again, anyone who could speak to Labour voters, anyone who has that kind of background, I think is useful. Reform can't just be different version of the Conservative Party if it is going to be a new and exciting force in politics.
OK. Fraser, we'll see you in the next hour.
Kate and I know each other quite well.
Yeah.
She went to school just a mile away from where I went to school as well, and she owns a farm in Northern Ireland as well. Yeah, so she talks from that point of view, that perspective there as well.
Well, maybe we should drop her a text. See if she's got any big news today. See if she'd like to chat to us tomorrow, maybe.
Could well be.
Could well. Watch this space.
Yeah, and watch this space. Look up in the sky, see what the weather's going to be doing today. Alex Deacon will tell you.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland. One or two showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperatures about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Nothing average about the Great British Giveaway. It's their biggest and best yet. You could win it. Here we go.
There's only 2 weeks left to ensure you're in the draw to win our biggest cash prize so far. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane from Manchester. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. It is real and it does happen to everyday people like myself. And that one text has just made my life 100% better.
But you have to hurry, as lines close on Friday the 30th of January. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, do we have too many police forces or services around the country? There are 43 of them, 43 separately around the country. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? We're going to be talking about that next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around, a nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
We want to talk now about Britain's policing model. It's under strain. 43 forces around the country, they are now struggling to keep up with what are termed modern crimes.
Well, government sources have told GB News that local forces are being overwhelmed by complex threats like online fraud and AI-driven sexual exploitation, as the Home Secretary prepares to unveil major reforms later this month.
Well, joining us now, former Detective Chief Superintendent of the Metropolitan Police. We say hello, good morning, welcome to Kevin Hurley. Kevin, what do you think of this theory that forces or services can't deal with modern crime when there are too many of them?
Well, they can't deal with burglary, phone thefts, pedal cycle thefts, quite frankly. The bottom line on this is the way in which we deliver policing in the UK is extremely inefficient. The product we, the public, want are local officers who know their area, patrolling where they are, local detectives who know their local villains, who can catch the burglars. And we also, as a public, if we think about it, want some kind of organised crime capability that can go across county borders, even internationally, and take on the organised threats. We actually operate with 43 separate bodies, all with their own leadership, management. It's extremely wasteful.
But so, Kevin, you sound as though you're advocating keeping something like what we've got and adapting it.
No, quite the opposite. It's my mistake if I convey that view. What I'm advocating is we want people who patrol locally. We actually want people who respond to investigate locally, but they do not need to have a headquarters in Guildford or Oxford or wherever controlling them. Policing is fundamentally done at a basic low level where we all live. So we should be paying for constables, sergeants and inspectors, not 43 chief constables with all their senior management team, all their arguments over who's going to investigate that crime or that crime. It is extremely inefficient. And I'd use the example of this, as basic as McDonald's. You get McDonald's in virtually every town in the country. They have one UK management board to run McDonald's. They don't have 43. It cannot be right that we've got a chief constable in Guildford for Surrey who does their own thing as they see fit, and we've got a chief constable just along the road in Lewes in Sussex where they do their own thing. What we want is that money, and it's a huge proportion that's wasted, being used for people responding to burglaries, antisocial behaviour, drug dealing to children, and then a capability to deal with organised crime. I was the Police and Crime Commissioner for Surrey, so I know how the budgets work. And I can tell you that Surrey Police has had to disband things like its counter-organised burglary squads, its surveillance teams, and had to share them with Sussex because they can't make ends meet. If you got rid of the chief constable, all that management team, you can have as many specialist groups as you like protecting women and children. It's wasteful to have 43 senior management teams and everything that goes with it.
OK, Kevin, we're out of time with you, I'm afraid, but thank you very much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Thanks, Kevin. Just to ask you at home, what do you think of the police service that you have got, and would you like to tweak in any way? Obviously, the things that Kevin was talking about there, they want people to investigate burglaries and all sorts of crime like that. Of course, people want that. But what would you do to achieve that? Let us know. Have your say there, gbnews.com/your say.
I think it might be a nice time for the daily reflection. What do you think?
I'll not argue.
Here it is.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Nimsa Brunge, and I'm the pastor of Freedom's Ark,
a member of the Evangelical Alliance here in the Tottenham Town Hall. The scene at Canaan is simple. A wedding feast, a joyful gathering, and suddenly a problem. They have no wine. Into this moment of embarrassment and worry, Mary turns to Jesus. Her concern reveals a deep trust that even in life's small crisis, help can be found. Jesus replies, "My hour is not yet come." It is a moment of hesitation, not refusal, but recognition. Once he acts, the quiet years of his life will end. Attention will follow admiration from some, criticism from others. This first miracle will set everything into motion. Many people understand what it feels like to step into a role or responsibility that will draw new attention. With visibility comes both encouragement and pressure. The writer Judge Eliot once said, "The strongest moments are often the most quiet ones." Canaan shows us that Jesus steps forward, not for acclaim, but out of compassion. Despite knowing what his decision will cost, Jesus chooses to help. A family spared shame, a celebration continues, and grace flows quietly as water is turned to wine. Canaan reminds us the genuine concern is often expressed by simple acts that change the moment for the better. Let's pray. O God of compassion, give us the courage to act with kindness, even when it draws attention or challenge. Grant us wisdom, gentleness, and the grace to bring joy into the lives of others. Amen.
That's your daily reflection on this Tuesday morning. Coming up later on this morning is Britain's Newsroom, and Andrew Pearce is going to be reunited on screen with his old sparring partner and the co-host of the Piers and Maguire podcast, Kevin Maguire himself. So it's guaranteed fireworks this morning from 9:30. Miriam Cates will be there in the middle of the two of them, I'm sure. You don't want to miss that.
You will want to miss any build-up in the traffic situation. We'll tell you who's doing what where. Here it is.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M9, lanes are restricted in both directions between Junction 6 and Junction 7 because of continuous planned maintenance. On the M6-2 westbound between Junction 25 and Junction 24, congestion is adding around 30 minutes. In Leicestershire, the M1 southbound exit slip at Junction 21 is slow moving, with delays of about 10 minutes. And on the trains, Great Western Railway has road transport replacing trains between Liskeard and Looe, while South Western Railway is running a reduced service between Brockenhurst and Lymington Pier. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us till to come. Paul Coit is here with all the sports news. That's next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back.
Just sitting talking fashion with Paul Coyte here.
Well,
so what are you...
sports, pastimes and fashion. I'm the correspondent.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
So what are you doing with your... What are you doing later on?
What, the Konrad Bartelski ski jacket?
Yes, which we've seen.
Which we have seen a few years ago, which Ellie, by the way, has tried on already today.
So comfy and cosy.
And why is it coming out today?
Because the Winter Olympics is coming up, and it was worn... This is the one that I bought on eBay. What is it, about 4 or 5 years ago? About 30 quid, and it turned out it was worn by Konrad Bartelski, our finest skier from the 1980 Lake Placid Olympics, and he wore it, and I bought it.
And you'll tell us more later.
I don't think there's anything more to tell. I think I've told it all.
Model it. You should do the 7 sports in the jacket.
The 7 sports?
In the 7 o'clock.
Oh, the 7 o'clock sport. I thought you meant 7 different sports.
You could also do that if you like.
You know what? I may well. And in fact, I may pass it along.
Yes, please do.
Right, fantastic late equaliser from Brighton last night.
Yeah.
In the South Coast derby.
Yeah, I'll go through that briefly. So Brighton won, Bournemouth won. Controversial penalty for Bournemouth. Another one of those. Eamonn Adley was brought down. It's one of those where, you know, when they go through it and the goalkeeper goes for the ball and then you see the striker will go over the top, and then he was given a yellow card for simulation, said he was cheating, diving, and then they looked at it at VAR, and then when you can just catch, there's a bit of hand involved, so the penalty was given. So then the yellow card was rescinded, and then the equaliser, Charalampos Costello, who's 18 years old, who's Greek, and anyway, and it was reminiscent. It was even better than Dennis Stewart's overhead kick from the 1976 League Cup final. It was an unbelievable overhead kick. Terry, look at that.
Better than Wayne Rooney, better than...
Look at that. Look, there we are in midair. It was a beauty. It was an absolute beauty, right in the last minute as well. So 1-1 there, Brighton and Bournemouth. Champions League is tonight, by the way.
OK.
So I know when we talk about the Champions League, it's like, oh, God, Champions... But we are getting there now. There's 2 games to go. So Bodo Glimt from Norway, from the Arctic Circle, playing Man City at 5:45. I assume it will be dark there, right? At this time of the year? If it's in the Arctic Circle?
Yeah, it'll be dark anyway.
So it'll be dark. That's what I mean. So there's land in the midnight sun and dark 24 hours a day during the winter. So Inter Milan have got Arsenal.
Do you know there's also times where they're bright for 24 hours?
Well, the land of the midnight sun, yeah. So in the height of the summer. Well, what the thing is, though, they say,
be way worse.
They say the suicide rate is huge because of the darkness. Nobody ever sees any sun.
Well, what is the brightness of...
But then you just can't sleep, can you?
You just get blackout.
No, but there's a film, was it Robert De Niro was in it, or was it Al Pacino? I can't remember, but it was very good, and I forget what it was called, but he was a detective who was sent to the land of the midnight sun.
We've had this conversation before. We've definitely had this conversation before.
It's a good movie.
And we couldn't remember the name of the film, and then someone goes, it was that film.
It was that film.
So what did it just keep him up all night then?
Yeah,
and it was played with his mind.
on their mental health and all that sort of
So I guess spring and autumn is fine.
Yeah.
but the rest of the time is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bodo Klimt. And Spurs, as we know, are in all sorts of trouble at the moment. Spurs are in 11th in the Champions League, but they are not doing well. They can't buy a win. Lost to West Ham on Saturday, playing Borussia Dortmund, who are second in the Bundesliga. So we're looking at Thomas Frank. And is Thomas Frank going to be able to last this out? Yeah. Now, I think other managers may have been fired by this point, but he's putting a brave face on it. He's got the crowd, which are just on his back. It really is uncomfortable for Thomas Frank, but he's sticking it out.
Well, is he sticking it out? Are they sticking him out? The thing is, they could be sticking him until...
Another one comes in.
Yeah, until somebody's available.
We don't know. That's the thing. Well, he said that he had a meeting, had lunch with the owners and his bosses yesterday. This is what he had to say, and see how confident you think he looks as Thomas Frank yesterday.
I've just been, how can you say, feeling the trust along the way. I've done that. I've said that every press meeting that there's backing and support. I had lunch with Nick and Vinay and Johan today, so... all good. I know it's part of the, how can you say, the media circus, and the only focus I have is to do everything I can for us to win tomorrow against Dortmund.
I wonder whether it's a bit more than the media circus. We'll have to see how things go tonight. But he's sitting with Xavi Simons, who plays for Spurs. They hadn't had an argument, by the way. They look very far apart, but there was no argument between them. Just to let you know, everything's
Just
fine.
let you know, Paul, we'll welcome you back at about...
with the coat.
In the jacket.
20 past 7 or so this morning. Dude, you're all right, don't worry.
Oh, thanks
Your
very much.
position's OK.
Bless you. Are you sure?
Sure.
Thanks, Paul.
Right, still to come, we've got the papers. What's happening there?
Well, we're going to be going through them with Anna and Norman, so we're going to find out. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Further wet and windy weather in and around the Mediterranean, particularly for parts of southern Italy and Greece. A very soggy day in Athens, likely on Wednesday, with a gusty wind here. Some of that wet and windy weather also affecting parts of Croatia and southern Italy. Northern Italy turning drier, along with Corsica. Drier too on Wednesday across the Balearics, but another weather system sitting in the Bay of Biscay, bringing more showery rain to Portugal and more western parts of Spain. Showers in Madeira, sunny spells in the Canaries.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
That you finally got your MBE. Well done, sir.
Absolutely, and thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I'm so honoured, to get it. I could not believe it when I got the letter saying, they were going to honour me with it. I can't wait to go and collect it now.
And Paul, no doubt when you go and meet His Majesty, you might have some kind of funny quip to say to him. What are you going to say? To me, to Your Majesty?
Well, I might say, not from you to me, hopefully. It depends who it is, doesn't it, as well? I might be stum. Sometimes I can't say things much, but who knows? I mean, I'm just really looking forward to collecting it. It's I feel so honoured.
And Paul, of course, as well as services to comedy, which this wasn't for, though heaven knows it perhaps should have been, this was for services, your recognition of your fundraising for Marie Curie for cancer, of course, because your brother Barry sadly passed away of bone cancer. And since that time, you kind of made it one of your missions to raise awareness, and that is why the King has given you the nod. Tell us about your charity work.
Well, both Barry and I were both ambassadors for Marie Curie for about 6-7 years before Barry passed away. It was just such a fabulous thing. So many people that have been looked after by Marie Curie in the later years. That's obviously because of the age we are getting to that sort of age. Lots of our friends and family are passing away. And the manicure, they just everything. When my father-in-law passed away, he was on what you say his deathbed, and a manicure nurse sat up with my wife all night long. You know, she didn't have to, but they sat there for like 7 or 8 hours with her. You know, it was they're just wonderful people. They do a lot more than people realise they do.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Two former politicians joined us now, Norman Baker and Anna Firth, going through stories making the news, and no bigger story than Donald Trump, Norman. And I just wonder, as a politician, what's your particular take on this? I mean, what do you think of what you're looking at, what is unfolding involving Trump?
Well, this isn't the West first. It's not America. It's not even America first. It's Trump first, and he's simply pursuing Greenland for egotistical, personal reasons. There's no question that there's a security threat to Greenland. Russia's interested in reclaiming the Soviet Union as it was, but Greenland's not part of that. They're not interested. They never mention Greenland. And in any case, the US can put as many bases as it wants on Greenland under the 1951 agreement. So there's no security issue there. And if the Russians did invade Greenland, which is highly unlikely, then NATO would respond because it's a NATO country. So this is a complete red herring. And I think the truth comes down to this astonishing letter to the Norwegian Prime Minister, when he says, quote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars," which isn't true, of course.
8 wars plus.
Plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. I mean, this is toddler politics, but this is a man who's got his finger on the nuclear button, controlling the most important country in the world. I think, I'm not just being excessive here, but I think he's ill. I think he's mentally ill. I think we need a psychological analysis of him, and I think the Republicans and J.D. Vance ought to be removing him from office. I think he's mentally unfit for office now.
So who is there to rein him in? Is it those two guys?
Well, the American Constitution has a process, which I'm not sure has ever been activated, whereby the majority of the cabinet and the vice president demand he be removed, then they can generate a letter to remove him. He then appeals to Congress to say that I don't want to be removed. And if Congress agrees with the vice president and the cabinet, then that's the end of Trump. And that's what needs to happen now.
But J.D. Vance is MAGA through and through, isn't he? I mean, many would say he's just as hardball, if not more hardball.
Well, I think he's hardball, but he's not mentally ill. And I think some of this is put on because he has to say that because he's vice president.
Yeah,
you know, I think he's more realistic.
I mean, what Norman's saying there, Anna, is there is certainly a big theory about that on social media. A lot of people are looking and saying exactly the same thing.
No, I mean, I agree with Norman on this. This is 100% ego. It's childish and it's deeply worrying to have the leader of the Western world behaving like this. I think what we have to hope is that the Supreme Court in the United States effectively comes to our rescue this week by declaring that Donald Trump is acting beyond his powers. He's acting in an ultra-vires way, and that actually it's for Congress to be making some of these decisions. Yes. That would actually be, in a way, the way out, and then, of course, Trump could climb down, he could blame the lawyers, but actually the world would be a safer place.
Well, President Trump's been busy this morning posting on Truth Social, if we can get these pictures up on the screen. They're AI-generated images. One is of President Trump in the Oval Office, surrounded by world leaders, including Sir Keir Starmer, Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Ursula von der Leyen. And then there's a second image that he's posted this morning, in the early hours this time. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio and President Trump himself with the American flag, putting the American flag in Greenland, and there's a sign there that says Greenland, US territory, 2026. What do you make of these images, Anna?
Well, I mean, I think this absolutely proves the point, doesn't it? This is all about him and his image and his legacy. Because under the 1951 treaty after the Second World War, he doesn't have to own Greenland in order to have US protections, in order to have US defence systems on Greenland. He has those powers already. In terms of businesses, he could establish a business. This is all about ownership. He doesn't need to own Greenland. Why does he want to own Greenland? All about himself, all about ego.
We've just had a new post on Truth Social from President Trump, this time attacking the UK's decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. He's called it a great stupidity. He says, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, brilliant is in inverted commas, the United Kingdom is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia. This is the site of a vital US military base to Mauritius.
That's wrong.
They're doing so for no reason whatsoever.
But on that, I would actually agree with him, but that's not what he said at the time.
No, it's not what he said.
Yeah, when he had Keir Starmer in front of him in the Oval Office, he said, oh, well, he's got a long lease, you know, I think he's doing what he's doing is OK. You can't trust a word he says.
No, and the Americans aren't being removed from Diego Garcia. Let's be quite clear about that. The American bases will continue there.
Yes, but I still don't think we should be paying. I don't think we should be giving the military base away. It's a significant base, and we should be keeping it.
Talking about ownership, I want you both to give me your opinion. Who owns the Conservative Party?
Well, quite clearly, Kemi Badenoch, and I'm really pleased to see her acting like a strong leader.
Do you agree with that, Norman?
Well, I think she's doing the best of a bad job. I mean, she's been dealt a terrible hand, and it's getting worse. And she's being surrounded by people who are disloyal and behaving in a most reprehensible way, particularly Robert Jenrick, I think. So, I mean, she's doing her best with a bad hand, is the reality.
Is this the extinction of the Tory party?
No, absolutely not.
Will you star player?
Well, I mean, I don't think I would agree that Robert Jenrick is a star player. In fact, the polling has shown that only 11% of Britons have a favourable opinion of Robert Jenrick.
Were we never tempted at one stage to think this Jenrick's a good guy, he'd be worth putting a bet on?
No, and actually, having said, I mean, I worked with Robert when I was in Parliament. You know, I liked Robert. He was kind to me when I came in as a by-election candidate. But the way he has behaved, I think, is beyond the pale. If you want to leave the party, you're free to do so.
Right.
But there's a way of doing it. You don't stand up and abuse your colleagues and start talking about things that have been happening when you've been around.
In the party?
I do believe in the Conservative Party, and I think that what we're going to see is that the Conservatives will actually, once they have excised the boil, we will see the Conservatives continue to recover under Kemi Badenoch.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you again in about 40 minutes' time. Appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed.
Let us know what you think on any of those stories. gbnews.com/you'll say. But for now, let's get a check on the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland. One or two showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperature about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M9, restrictions remain both ways between Junction 6 and Junction 7 for planned roadworks. In Yorkshire, the A1M southbound has one lane closed between Junction 44 and Junction 42 after a collision. Traffic should return to normal after 7:30. In Warwickshire, the M40 southbound has one lane closed between Junction 14 and Junction 13 after a vehicle incident, with delays expected until after 9:30. And on the trains, Great Western Railway is using road transport between Liskeard and Looe, while South Western Railway has a reduced service between Brockenhurst and Lymington Pier, plus delays between Salisbury and Romsey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. Oh, definitely please enter. It is real, and that one text has just made my life 100% better.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good morning. President Trump says Denmark can't protect Arctic territory.
Well, the American president has repeated his demand for the US to take control of Greenland.
We have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there.
Well, it comes as Sir Keir Starmer insists that the European Union must not launch a trade war with the United States over fears that they might take the territory.
Breaking news, this happens within the last hour. Donald Trump has also called the UK's decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius a great stupidity. Writing on Truth Social, he said, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of vital American military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. I'm a bit lost now as to who owns what or where we are with that whole thing.
Well, all of this comes as today marks exactly 1 year since President Trump returned to the White House, with protests expected in Washington, D.C. later today.
Is there going to be another Labour U-turn? Sir Keir Starmer opens the door to Australian-style social media bans for under-16s after more than 60 Labour MPs have urged the Prime Minister to consider the move. Your views are very welcome.
In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal this morning that the UK's 43-force police system is buckling under pressure and failing to tackle modern crimes.
Brooklyn Beckham has been speaking out over all the newspapers today. It's a family feud that's gripping the whole country. Sir David and Victoria's son accuses them of prioritising Brand Beckham over their children and ruining his wedding.
Prince Harry says the constant stress of reporting by the Daily Mail on his personal life left him paranoid beyond belief and caused him massive strain in his close relationships.
A new study has found that education is the most important dividing line in attitudes towards immigration and support for right-wing politics. What do you think about that one? Today we are asking, are less educated people more anti-immigration?
It's deadline day for the decision on whether to grant China permission for a new London super embassy.
And sport this morning, Brighton and Bournemouth play out a 1-1 draw with a disputed penalty and a brilliant last-minute overhead kick. Champions League is back tonight. Manchester City, Spurs and Arsenal all in action, and Morocco are threatening legal action after the bizarre AFCON final that they lost on Sunday.
A little bit brighter out there today for many places, and many places will be dry. But the main exception will be in the south and west, where a band of heavy rain moves in, and we've got a warning in place for the winds. Warning in place later in the week across eastern Scotland for the rain as well. Full details on all of that coming shortly.
Hello there, very good to have you on board. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Bob, say Coity here tomorrow this morning.
Yeah, tomorrow. Just to let you know, tomorrow, Brad Hall, who is the captain, the skipper of the Team GB bobsleigh team, have got a great chance of winning a gold medal at the Winter Olympics. Only a couple of weeks away. He's going to be with us about 7:30 tomorrow.
Really?
I still think that because the middle, because you would get the four-man bob. Yeah. The back guy is the one that does the brake. Yeah. The front one is the driver. Yeah. The other two...
Just there for the ride.
They're just there for the ride. Now, you've got to be powerful. They have sprinters, so it's all about the power. So maybe...
Then you just sit down and enjoy the ride.
But that's it. All you do...
How could you enjoy that?
You could sit in, but the thing is, you just keep your head down like that. You can't see anything.
Boom, 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 boom,
that's
boom,
it.
Boom, boom.
If you're an adrenaline junkie, you'd love it.
Do you remember John Noakes in Blue Peter? Do you remember when he had that and he fell off the back of the bob?
Yeah.
And then he was on Blue Peter and then he was showing his scar all down his...
Is John Noakes still alive?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No.
He was amazing, absolutely amazing. Daredevil. He was Bill Peters' equivalent of you, really.
I think, you know what, I think it's exactly... Yeah. Whereas I always see you as more of a Peter Purvis. Yeah. Yes.
Well, we'll see you in about 15 minutes' time in your jacket.
Thank you, Leslie Judd. Thank you very much. Lovely.
Let's have a look at our top story this morning, because President Trump says Denmark cannot protect Greenland, and he repeats his demand for control over the Arctic territory.
We have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, you know, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property. So we'll be talking about it with the various people. We've had tremendous success, and I've done more for NATO than anybody else. I don't think you'd have NATO right now. I got them to go 5% and pay as opposed to 2% and not pay. I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far. And we'll see how that goes. But Greenland is very important.
God, listen to everything he has to say, and he puts on his Truth Social as well. He reveals there that he had what's been described as very good telephone call with the NATO Secretary-General over Greenland, and he agreed to meet various parties at the World Economic Forum in Davos in Switzerland. So that's going to be very interesting, Ellie.
Yeah, it could be very tense conversations in Davos this week. He's also posted these private messages of himself and President Macron, and Macron has suggested that he's going to set up a G7 meeting. He's also posted about the Chagos Islands on Truth Social. He said that the decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius by the UK, which he describes as a brilliant NATO ally, was a great stupidity.
Well, in response to threats of tariffs, Sir Keir Starmer has urged the European Union not to hit back with retaliatory tariffs. Pablo Ohana joins us now, the political strategist. Well, Pablo, how do you see this playing out? How's this going to develop?
Well, as usual with Trump, I wouldn't be the first to try and predict what's going to happen. But I do think that it is, we're sort of looking at 1 year of Donald Trump since he's come to office. And as everyone knows, it's been high speed, if nothing else. We've had a year of, executive order-led presidency. There's been a lot of talk around tariffs and borders and alliances. It's been very transactional. I think that his reaction to both the sort of recent developments around Greenland, but also the Chagos Islands, reflects that he is a very transactional president. And of course, the United Kingdom has a relatively long and sort of difficult history with different territories around the world. Not one that I'm sure that Donald Trump has much time for. But yeah, it's my time of predicting what Donald Trump is going to do has long gone.
So, Pablo, let's talk about the Chagos Islands, shall we? Because we've got this post from President Trump in the last 30 minutes saying that, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia for no reason whatsoever. The UK is giving away extremely important land is an act of great stupidity, and in another very long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired. What do you make of this post by President Trump? Because he did give the green light, didn't he, for the Chagos Islands deal to go ahead?
Yeah, he did support it originally. I'm not quite sure what's changed in that time. But I think, we know why the Chagos Islands are sort of being separated from the UK. And we know that the UK has, as I say, this kind of really difficult history with colonisation. And I think that there has to become... this actually did have cross-party consensus in the UK. Obviously this was a deal that began earlier. It's now been completed by the Labour government. I'm actually very glad to see Donald Trump in that statement say that the UK remains a strong ally and a NATO ally, because that hasn't always been the case. Commas. Say again, sorry?
A brilliant NATO ally, he describes us as, but brilliant is in inverted commas.
Yeah. As always, it's probably double-edged, but I think it's still good to see that in there because it has been a difficult relationship. We obviously would have seen Keir Starmer's press conference yesterday when he spoke to the country, and using pretty pointed language. Actually, I was quite taken aback by just how direct Keir Starmer was yesterday. But I think that this is a step forward for the UK. I do think that the UK I'm very proud of our country. I will be the first to say I really love our country. I think we're the best in the world, but I do think that we have some really complicated history we have to face up to, and the Chagos Islands is part of that.
And Pablo, what do you think of Trump himself and his state of mind at the minute? Do you think it's going to be questioned?
Well, I will say, as someone who was on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's campaign, that we had to field those questions an awful lot. There was obviously some really difficult times for us during that campaign. I think we're seeing a very similar thing here with Donald Trump. And it was interesting that Donald Trump made that campaign a couple of years ago all about the kind of state of the president, the mind of the president, whether he was capable of running a country that large, a country that so many others around the world depend on. And I think we're probably seeing a similar thing here, that kind of a line of attack attack that Trump used against Joe Biden, and to some extent, actually, Kamala Harris too, might come back to haunt him this year.
OK, appreciate your take, Pablo. Leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. And we can now speak to the environmental spokesperson for the Liberal Democrats. We say hello, good morning, and welcome to Tim Farron.
Good morning to you, Mr. Farron.
Good morning.
Morning. Can we start with this post on Truth Social from President Trump? It's been in the last 30 minutes or so, so I'm not sure if you've been able to see it yet. But he talks about, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, a vital US military base to Mauritius, for no reason whatsoever. The UK giving away extremely important land is an act of great stupidity and in a very long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired. What do you make of this post from President Trump? The Chagos deal hasn't been ratified yet in Parliament. Does it need to be reversed?
Well, I have seen the post. I mean, as Pablo has just said in your previous interview, Donald Trump has been fully in support of the Chagos deals. Whether you agree with it or not, it's clear that the fact that Donald Trump also agrees with it. And this is not about Chagos. This is just him lashing out over Greenland, which is a bizarre situation to find ourselves in, that the NATO alliance has pretty much kept the peace, particularly in the Western world, for the last 80 years, something that was fought for by our grandfathers and great-grandfathers in the bloody Second World War, and all the people at home who endured such utter torment for those 6 years, to build a peace that was an enduring peace, and it's been thrown away by one man. And even if you are a person who would normally politically be favourable towards Donald Trump, surely this is the moment when you realise that the peace of the world is now being threatened by one man acting extremely foolishly. I mean, the reality is, yes, Greenland is significant militarily, strategically, and it belongs to a staunch NATO ally. America has troops on that island anyway, and the thought that Russia or China are about to nab it, and if they did, there wouldn't be a huge and unified NATO response, is completely for the birds. So yes, anybody who's a true patriot this morning will be raising an eyebrow at Donald Trump, and indeed, hopefully, potentially standing up to him even more strongly than that.
So, Tim, what do you suspect the truth is? I mean, if it's not about security and he can up the ante there when he wants, he can put more troops there when he wants according to the existing agreement, what does he want Greenland for? Is it wealth?
Well, do you know what? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. I've always thought, actually, in my experience, that the vice that traps most politicians is not the lurid stuff that ends up in the tabloids. It's vanity. I feel it's vanity.
Tim Farron, we just had the rate of UK unemployment come through to us. It has remained unchanged, 5.1% in the 3 months to November. What's your reaction to those figures?
Well, it's still too high, and it's clear that, OK, there are underlying problems affecting the UK economy over the last 10 years, the realities of Brexit, the COVID pandemic, a whole range of things that were beyond the control of this particular government, but undoubtedly Rachel Reeves' decision to put up taxes on business in the last but one budget in 2024 has had a suppressing impact upon our economy. In my own constituency, in the Lakes and the Dales, the most popular tourist destination in the UK outside of London, we're seeing businesses struggling, not because of a lack of demand particularly, but because of enormous costs of being able to operate in a very difficult situation. So I'm glad it's not gone up, but 5%, you've got 1 in 20 people in the workforce and not able to find a job. That is tragic for them and their families, and undoubtedly this government has played some small part in achieving that sad reality.
Can we go back to Greenland and this time President Trump's tariffs over Greenland, which would impact the UK? Now, Keir Starmer speaking yesterday suggested that the UK is not going to respond with tariffs. He doesn't want to get into a trade war. He's gone as far as to say that putting tariffs on NATO allies is wrong. Is Sir Keir Starmer handling this the right way? Is this a Brexit benefit, that we have the relationship with Europe, but we also have the relationship with the US, that special relationship, as it's often described?
Relationship. I've often said in this programme, it's all nonsense, this special relationship.
Mr. Farron?
Yes, so I mean, yeah, sorry, I heard another voice coming through on my feed then, sorry. No, I think the reality is that Keir Starmer's response has been really weak. I understand what his plan is. His approach is to try and maintain a relationship and manage Donald Trump. It's not succeeded, has it? The only language that he understands is strength, and the European Union, a very, very strong economy, arguably a bigger economy than the United States, is showing some backbone and standing up to him, and the UK should join in. It's not doing the UK any good whatsoever to look like they're trying to appease a man who's being a bully. Doesn't history teach us nothing? That if you appease bullies, all that happens is you maybe slightly defer you being gobbled up by them.
Well, Tim Farron, thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for your views. Appreciate it. And we've got to leave it there. Thank you.
Well, we're joined now in the studio by Deputy Editor at Spiked Online, Fraser Myers. Morning to you, Fraser. What do you make on this post from President Trump on Truth Social about the Chagos Islands, calling it an act of great stupidity to give it to Mauritius?
Well, on the one hand, he has a point. It is an act of great stupidity. I think a lot of people recognised that at the time. A lot of people were hoping, actually, that he would have called it out earlier. I mean, it was quite striking when he first came in last year. Marco Rubio and Trump seemed to say the deal was fine. It really makes no sense from any kind of rational perspective, paying a country to take your own territory. But I think what this really shows is less about the Chagos Islands, let's face it. This is a continuation of this war of words over Greenland. Trump has tried to connect it to Greenland. I mean, if you look at a map, I'm afraid they're on, other sides of the world. They're in different, different hemispheres, so they're not even close to each other. Clearly, Trump is ramping up the pressure on the UK, as well as his other allies. You mentioned earlier, publishing the private texts of Emmanuel Macron. He's clearly putting up the pressure, dialing up the pressure. There's the tariffs, there's the personal threats, there's the war of words.
Fraser, what pressure can be put on him or the USA, and indeed what resistance is there within the USA to the sort of things that he is proposing?
Well, I think that he doesn't really have public opinion on his side, but at the same time, you do wonder where there doesn't seem to be much internal pushback. I think, certainly within the Trump court, and I think it's right to call it a court, it is more of a sort of kingly presidency. I don't think he's surrounded by a lot of yes men.
Yeah, funny you say kingly presidency. President Trump just posted on Truth Social again. He's been busy this morning. Private text now from Mark Rutte, who's the Secretary-General of NATO. And in this message, Mark Rutte says, Mr. President, dear Donald, what you've accomplished in Syria today is incredible. I will use my media engagements in Davos to highlight your work there in Gaza and Ukraine. I'm committed to finding a way forward on Greenland. I can't wait to see you. Yours, Mark. And in the private messages he's posted between himself and President Macron, which is also posted on Truth Social this morning, Emmanuel Macron has suggested that they all meet in Davos in Paris then on Thursday afternoon. He's saying, I'm going to gather the Ukrainians, the Danish, the Syrians and the Russians there as well. So there could be some very tense conversations taking place in Davos.
Absolutely. There'll be tense conversations in private, but I think what everyone will be looking forward to, maybe with a lot of trepidation, is the speech that Trump will be giving at Davos on Wednesday. The theme at the World Economic Forum is usually pretty bland, but we might remember last year, or the last time he appeared at Davos, I should say, he absolutely took no prisoners, railing against the sort of type of people that appear there, from world leaders to the super rich to bankers. I think this could be potentially very explosive.
Fraser, appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Potentially expensive, and there'll be potentially a lot of snow about in Davos as well. Is it going to be the same here? Here we go.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland, one or two showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperatures about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, time is ticking on your chance to win £85,000 in tax-free cash. It's in our biggest ever Great British Giveaway. Here are all of the details that you need.
There's only 2 weeks left to ensure you're in the draw to win our biggest cash prize so far. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane from Manchester. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. It is real and it does happen to everyday people like myself. And that one text has just made my life 100% better.
But you have to hurry, as lines close on Friday the 30th of January. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless, and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Now, this is an interesting debate coming up. It's a major new study which suggests the biggest fault line in politics in this country isn't age, it isn't what you earn, it is how you have been educated or not.
Yes, researchers say that attitudes to immigration and support for right-wing parties are far more divided between graduates and non-graduates in the UK than almost any other group.
So this morning we're asking, are less educated people more anti-immigration? I don't like this, I must say. I just don't like it. It's got a bad tinge to it. It means if you're thick, you're going to vote that way. I don't like that at all. Let's see what our contributors think of that. Commentator and activist Eamonn Ayton and political commentator Suzanne Evans. Who wants to take this one up?
I'll be polite. Suzanne, would you like to go first? I'm happy to lead the way and you can contradict me as when you see fit, but it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, Mum, why don't you take it away?
Amazing. So personally, I do see the correlation. I think there is a pattern. Let's just kind of start from the top. So I think that when people are less educated, it means that they're more likely to have less opportunities and therefore less earning potential. And if you have less earning potential, you're more likely to be financially insecure. And if you're financially insecure, you're more likely to just be insecure in general, which is centered around fear, threat, and being conscious of the competition. Who is regarded as the competition? Immigrants and those that are black and brown. So I think the golden thread that runs throughout this particular dynamic ultimately comes down to insecurity, fear, threat, and scarcity. And that's why I believe that there is a level of accuracy when it pertains to this.
Suzanne, what do you think? Can you hear me, Suzanne? What do you think about this?
Yes, I think this is absolute nonsense. I'm just thinking about one of my closest friends who's got 9 degrees. He had a big job in the city. He's certainly not any of the things that we've just heard described. He's a reform voter. He's very anti-uncontrolled immigration. I think, frankly, to worry about the state of affairs at the moment doesn't show that you're uneducated. It shows that you've got a huge amount of common sense. You could say, if you don't get it, 65,000 men, mostly in small boats across channel since Keir Starmer took office as Prime Minister, men coming from cultures that don't respect women, for example. It is a considerable worry. You don't have to be educated or uneducated to know that that's a threat to the British way of life.
Eamonn, is this about education or is this just common sense, as Suzanne says?
Well, I think, Suzanne, potentially you're missing an angle that I think I've tried to highlight, but I'll try to elaborate a little bit more. If you just think about it logically, what you just said in terms of people that care about immigration. So basically, irrespective of education, irrespective of being less educated, the common denominator always is insecurity. The only reason why someone cares about immigration is because there is a level of insecurity. We have scarcity in this country. And obviously, as we know, that's mostly due to the Conservatives for 14 years, many of which have now transitioned to the Reform Party. But ultimately, it's due to scarcity, and that leads to feeling insecure. So when you think about being less educated, These are the people that are having to compete with the immigrants and the people that are in hotels. They are far more conscious of their competitors. So it's not necessarily looking at it from, it shouldn't be necessarily about looking at it from the perspective of who is more intelligent and who isn't. It's purely about less education means that you have less opportunities, Suzanne. And if you have less opportunities, it means you're going to be financially insecure, which means you're more likely to be dependent on the government and the government's decisions, and therefore you're going to be consciously or acutely aware of who else you are competing with, which means that you're going to basically spend your life focusing on black and brown.
Eamonn, can that be rebalanced? Can that be configured back in favour of people understanding the situation more than they are at the moment?
I think that, firstly, in terms of immigration, I think it's safe to say there is an issue. There's been a huge influx, and it makes sense as to why people would feel uncomfortable. The reason why they feel uncomfortable is because they feel insecure. We don't have the services, we don't have the resources, we don't have the money, quote unquote, Britain is broken. So again, golden thread, common denominator, one word, insecure. And being less educated is an ingredient for said insecurity. It actually is quite simple if you look at it from a different perspective, Suzanne.
Suzanne, last word to you.
Yeah, what we're hearing is basically snobbery. I think it's intellectual snobbery. It's absolute nonsense to say that people are less educated, are less insecure. There are many very successful tradespeople, for example, who might not have well in life, thank you, and thank goodness for them.
Okay, obviously a few communication problems there, but you know what the ladies are saying, and if you've got something you'd like to contribute to it, please do have your say. Eamonn Ayton and Suzanne Evans, thank you both very much indeed.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, the Winter Olympics are on the horizon. Paul Coit will be here with all the sports news. That's next.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M9 has restrictions both ways between Junction 6 and Junction 7 because of continuous planned maintenance. On the M4 eastbound, queues are building from Junction 28 at Tredegar Park to Junction 24 at Coldra. On the M1 southbound at Junction 19, a vehicle fire has 2 lanes closed. And on the trains, Great Western Railway has rail replacement buses between Liskeard and Looe, with delays between Salisbury and Romsey, while London Overground is disrupted between New Cross Gate and Sydenham. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back. It's sports time. Paul Coyte's here with us. Morning.
Good morning. Champions League is back tonight. We've got a couple of games, well, 3 games actually, with British teams. Bodo Glimt, who we discussed earlier, from the north of Norway, are playing Man City. So that's 32nd against 4th, because the top 8 qualify after these rounds in the Champions League. No, I've got to go through it. This is business. 9 to 24 get into the playoffs. So Inter Milan, as 6th, will play Arsenal, who are top at the moment in the Champions League and in the Premier League as well.
Who cares?
Spurs. I care. Spurs play
I think it's an awful abomination which they've committed to this tournament. I really do.
Why?
Because who cares this team that are playing Arsenal? They're not the big boys.
Well, so what do you think then is the way of doing it? You think it's too big and there's too many teams and therefore it's all about the money and more games?
It's all about the money.
I agree with that. Well, the old days of the European Cup, it used to be the champions. The champions would play
knockout,
and that's it. Yeah. And straight into knockout. Whereas now it is and the thing is, where I agree with you, early on, is it just goes on and it's only towards the end. So now we're like in the penultimate game, then it starts getting to knockout. That's when it starts getting interesting. Yeah, right. But anyway, Mark Gay signed for Manchester City yesterday. Did you hear about this from Crystal Palace? So he signed for £20 million. Crystal Palace captain to Man City, and this is one of the reasons Oliver Glasner was so unhappy, and he's not staying at Crystal Palace, but he's got to realise that his best assets are going to move on, because that's the way the pyramid works.
Not a lot of money.
But you know why it's 20 million quid? No. It's because his contract ends at the end of the season. So you either keep him to the end of the season and then he goes out on a free contract. Anyway, this is Mark Gay speaking yesterday.
Very proud, really excited to get started. I'm very grateful to God. If I'm being honest, I think I'm someone who doesn't have any attributes that stand out, but I'd say I'm quite well-rounded in everything. Balanced, I'd like to say, but definitely I think what I can bring is a calm, good level head, and just being a good teammate.
You know, it's a difficult thing to ask, isn't it? So what do you think you will bring to this club? You know, and you've got to be, well, I think I'm this and I'm that. But he's a very, very good player. So it's him and Antoine Semenyo, who signed from Bournemouth. So very good signings for Manchester City in this window. Yeah. Winter Olympics.
Yes.
The Winter Olympics now, it's very close.
2 weeks away, we're talking about, yeah.
A couple of weeks away now, and Team GB have been kitted out with their gear. This is the fashion bit, Ellie.
Do you like it?
Well, let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look and let's see what they've got. So there we are. So that's... it's a bit, well, it's not very interesting, is it? It's a bit bluey. It's a little anorak, would you say?
Blue anorak with some red writing on it.
Yes, and then there's the hoodie.
It's really boring.
It's not terribly exciting, to be honest with you.
And a black beanie there.
There's a beanie, and so what they do is they get all the athletes together. This is in Sheffield, and then it happens with every Olympics as well as the Winter Olympics. So then they go, right, so what would you like? And you fill your boots.
You probably need clothes like that at Sheffield.
Oh, I like that scarf. The Ben Sherman scarf's quite cool.
Well, it just says Ben Sherman Team GB.
But it's got a little Union Jack on it as well. That's
which is okay.
Yeah, very nice.
But the thing is, I don't think it quite goes with how things used to be. Now, here it is. I've actually dug this out. And Ellie, I've decided that you should be the one to wear this.
Do you want me to model it?
Let's have a look at it.
It's like a Santa coat.
It is. It's very much. Look, there we are. So let me hand this over to you here. Yeah. So the story is, I was looking at Olympic memorabilia, as one does, a few years ago, and 1980, Lake Placid, I remember that as a kid, and it came up, Conrad Bartelski, the famous skier of Great Britain, the actual coat that he wore in the opening ceremony, Lake Placid Winter Olympics. Look at that, don't cover the badge. Oh, sorry. Don't cover the badge, it's the badge, so the badge is the most important bit.
Where's the badge? Oh, here.
There it is, there is the badge. Look at that.
There you
Can you zoom in on the badge? There we are.
nice.
I'd
So
rather
this
you
is more
probably zoomed
like
in on
it.
the badge more than the actual fur. So
Is it
there.
real fur?
Well, I'm not really sure, but if I'm guessing in 1980, it's probably a
feel
good
like it
chance
probably
it's
is.
of an extinct animal now. I don't want to see animal protesters outside as I take it back through.
No. Well, it's very cosy.
How does it smell, though?
Oh, it smells lovely,
Yeah,
actually.
it's
Isn't it
okay.
nice? Dry clean?
It could be worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think this is more like it, actually. They should have this kind of kit.
I think, you know what?
It's very you.
Very
It
vintage.
is very you, isn't it? And looking, compared to the anorak that we just saw,
This is
I
more
think
like
that's
it.
the sort of thing, maybe with a
Very
different
cozy. Can I
lining.
keep this on now for the rest of the show?
So anyway, I got hold of Comrade Bartelski and said to him, you know, by the way, I've got your jacket from the 1980, you know, the opening ceremony. Would you like it? And he went, no, you're good. That's fine. And I thought, well, you don't want it back? He's going, no. So,
You got it for a bargain, though, didn't you?
about 30 quid, I think it was.
Amazing.
It's got to be worth millions, really.
Worth at least 32 quid.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so, mate.
Do you reckon it's gone up by a couple of
We
quid?
should do an auction.
Yeah.
GB News auction. Are you worried it's real fur? Do you think that's real fur?
I don't think it feels like real fur at all.
Really? Did they have fake fur in 1980? Is it possible to get it tested?
I'm just trying to get you out of trouble.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. I agree. It's obviously fake fur.
Fake fur.
OK. Not fake Paul. He'll be back again. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Keep that on for the rest of the show.
Top of the hour.
Very
Thank you
cozy.
very much indeed. Still to come, Donald Trump. Well, he's very much making the news today. Him and one of the Beckham kids have fallen out with their parents, and everybody's falling out with everybody else. And we're going to be talking about that in the papers with Anna and Norman next. Back with that after this.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Further wet and windy weather in and around the Mediterranean, particularly for parts of southern Italy and Greece. A very soggy day in Athens likely on Wednesday with a gusty wind here. Some of that wet and windy weather also affecting parts of Croatia and southern Italy. Northern Italy turning drier along with Corsica. Drier too on Wednesday across the Balearics. But another weather system sitting in the Bay of Biscay bringing more showery rain to Portugal and more western parts of Spain. Showers in Madeira, sunny spells in the Canaries.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think it's really a shocking statistic to hear, but it's one that we've heard a lot of in recent years, that suicide is the biggest killer of men under the age of 50. Do you think the government are doing enough to try and reduce that number?
Well, I mean, look, it's a very difficult, very touchy subject. I've lost friends to suicide, so many of us, you know, and it's devastating. It ruins families, ruins lives, and it's so sad that maybe that person did commit suicide, could be here, if there was some bit of support, someone looking out for them. So, look, I'm not pointing the blame at anyone because life's hard, yeah, and it's only going to get tougher this year. So if anyone watching this wants to set up a little group on a Sunday, go and do it, you know. Look after your friends, look after your community. We're all there for one another. Let's all be there next year and the year after and the year after that. That's what it's all about.
And if people want to join in next week, how do they get involved?
Get yourself down to Thatcher's Arms in Brent within Essex. Be here for 8 a.m. We're going to have for a lovely stroll to the countryside. Bring your dogs, bring your mates, whoever. Come down here. We'll shake your hands. You're all welcome. Be a lovely day.
I actually think it's a really, really brilliant idea, I have to admit. Well, a GB News reporter, Bethany, who's normally in the studio with me, but I'm sending her out to a pub, also spoke to a few other people who were at the event to see what they thought. Let's have a listen.
Things like today are really, really important, you know. A group of blokes from all walks of life having various different issues that often go unspoken, whether it's, you know, addiction or marital issues or loneliness, social isolation, anxiety, depression, all those sorts of things. You know, it's nice to be able to come down here, have a chat with a bunch of blokes about the various issues going on in their lives.
I think it's really important for men. Hearing some of the stories today, you think you're alone all week and different things, and hearing some of the stories and talking to others today that you're not, you have to have a chill out from work.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Well, it's okay to not have won an Academy Award, for instance, or Golden Globe or whatever, but not to have won, what did he not win?
The Nobel Peace Prize.
The Nobel Peace Prize. And then moan about it. To reflect Donald Trump's moaning, we've got Anna here and Norman. What do you think, Norman?
Well, look, I mean, the Peace Prize thing, he says he hasn't got the Peace Prize, complains to the Prime Minister of Norway, and therefore he's more inclined to go to war. I mean, it's just an absurd situation to be in and shows a man is mentally unstable, as indeed is the case with his recent remarks this morning. He's been busy on his typewriter or his laptop about the Chagos Islands. He says that the deal, leaving aside the rights and wrongs of the deal for a second, he said the deal has been signed for no reason whatsoever, an act of total weakness. And yet when the deal was signed by the UK, with his support, he said they're talking about a very, very long-term powerful lease, a very strong lease, and he said it's a very good deal. That's what he said at the time.
Yeah.
So he's completely the opposite.
And he said that this was a monumental achievement, and he expressed his explicit support.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be seriously worried because he's either lashing out and reacting completely emotionally, which is worrying in itself. That's not being a statesman. Or, frankly, that does show signs of dementia. If you are forgetting completely and utterly what you said only a little while ago, I mean, you've got to worry, haven't you, about mental faculty here. But where actually, ironically, I agree with Trump, what he's actually said today about the Chagos Islands, I completely agree with. There's no way we should be signing over our sovereign territory when we have the most important strategic military base there and paying for the privilege. I mean, it's a bonkers decision by Keir Starmer. Didn't need to make it. No legal grounds why he did need to make it. A political decision.
No, Norman, I
thought
his response to what Trump's up to at the moment was quite firm yesterday. Unusually for him, I thought it wasn't just the usual kiss his backside type.
Well, it was carefully worded. He has been quite clear on supporting the right of Greenland and Denmark to sort out themselves without US interference. However, I think we had that letter from Mark Rutte, which was read out earlier on in the programme, which was just vomit-inducing, quite frankly, and so sycophantic it was untrue.
Just remind people who Rutte is.
He's the UN Secretary-General, not the UN Secretary, the NATO Secretary-General.
NATO Secretary-General.
And I think that the lesson over the last 3 months or so has been this flattery of Trump, this sycophancy towards him, doesn't actually work.
Well, it works with him. It's the way that he operates, isn't it?
Well, that's what he wants to have. He wants to have it, but he doesn't show any response, any positive response. It doesn't generate the sort of response that people who offer the sycophancy actually want in return. He turns on them. I mean, everybody's been very kind to Trump and saying how good he is, which he hasn't been, of course, but he just spits back in their face.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's such a contrast to the way Margaret Thatcher used to deal with Reagan.
Yes.
And Reagan listened to her and had respect for her, and she always stood up to him. And, you know, remember how angry she was when he invaded Grenada.
Yeah.
And she absolutely lost it. And he held the phone, history says, away from his ear and said to the rest of the room, "Isn't she magnificent?"
But do you think President Trump would respect that kind of show of strength from the likes of Keir Starmer?
He does, because we've seen Mark Carney in Canada standing up to him a bit, and actually he's backed off Canada a bit.
We should also say that we can't speculate into President Trump's
Of course we can
health.
speculate.
We don't have any insight.
Well, everybody else
into
is
his
speculating.
medical
Everybody else
status.
thinks he's gone in the head, so
he would say he's
we're only
in perfect
reflecting
health.
sort of thing. But Ellie would rather fool herself into thinking this man's normal.
Well, I think Trump was very quick to say that Joe Biden was not up fit for office, wasn't he?
I think we can show the contrast in those remarks and worry about the inconsistency. I mean, must be able
staggering.
to...
The inconsistency is staggering.
Absolutely. We must be able to ask that question. It's a legitimate question.
How do you think the conversation's going to go down in Davos this week, you two? With all of these on Truth Social?
I think the EU and Britain have got to decide whether or not more sycophancy is the answer, or whether they're going to have to take a different view and say to Trump, we're going to get firm with you. I mean, there's a crucial point here to decide where you're going to go in terms of strategy.
Anna?
What can we do?
Well,
what effect can we do that will actually influence?
Well,
sorry, Anna.
But there's a principle here, and you should stand up for what is right. And we have, throughout history, as a small country, always stood up for the principle that the people of a country have the right to determine who governs them. And I think we've done it. You know, we've done it before. We did it in Europe, obviously, Second World War. We've done it with Ukraine. We must stand up to Trump.
Yeah.
I actually think he'll back off.
I think the interesting thing is, I mean, this channel would have a lot of support and a lot of sympathy and empathy with Trump, and you can feel it over the past week just drifting out the window. It's just, he's losing it big time.
He's taking on the whole world, and there's no need, because actually, you know, he has made some progress. I mean, you know, sometimes I say to myself, you've got to hand it to Trump. He has stopped the Gaza-Israel situation, thank goodness. And what a shame if he throws all of those good things away by...
Except he wants to bring Vladimir Putin into this peace council, which is completely bizarre.
Well, that's a complete no-no. That's a complete no-no.
Can we talk about another feud, this Beckham family feud, which is over all the newspapers? Anna, what's gone on here?
OK, so this is Brooklyn Beckham deciding to launch the most astonishing attack on his own family, and saying that that they've been controlling, that the way that his mum behaved at his wedding was inappropriate, and that he is never going to, you know, go back to his family.
He doesn't want to reconcile.
He doesn't want to reconcile with his family, and I mean, I think this is appalling on so many levels. I mean, this is coming from a position... I'm a mum, of course. I've got a son. I'd be so upset if my son ever behaved like this. But he's coming from a position of extreme privilege. You know, the sort of things he's saying about his mum is that his parents want him to go and support her at her fashion shows, which I don't think is unreasonable, and yet when he wants her to come and support him with a dog show or something to do with the dog's trust, that's unreasonable. Now, come on, people of his age, most of them have got a job.
You know, he's never worked a day in his life, has he?
And that's showing.
Well, he did a turn at chefing, he did a turn at photography, but he's never worked a day, and neither has Nicola.
And let's not forget, would she have been interested in him if he had been Brooklyn Brown in Nando's on a Friday? No.
On that thought. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Anna. Really appreciate it. Here's your weather update, and we'll be back after that.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland, one or two showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperatures about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but A good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A9 southbound, a broken down vehicle is partially blocking the road between Aberystwyth and Auchterarder, so slow down carefully and expect brief delays on approach. On the M4 eastbound, there's congestion on the off-slip at junction 33 at Capel Lanilturn. On the M6 1 northbound between junction 6 and junction 8 near Bolton, an overturned vehicle is causing lane closures, so allow extra time. And on the trains, cross-country has disruption between Plymouth and Penzance, while Great Western Railway reports disruption on various routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. Oh, definitely please enter. It is real, and that one text has just made my life 100% better.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British Airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Breaking news this morning, President Trump calls the UK's decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius an act of great stupidity.
Writing on his website, he said, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital American military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever.
The US president is referring to the UK's decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, which includes that island of Diego Garcia and its UK-US military base.
Well, we know that Donald Trump is changeable. It's only a few months since he signed this agreement, gave it the go-ahead and said he thought it was a good deal. How times change. It's back in the House of Commons today. Could this be the way out that the Chagosians have been hoping for?
To have it, they have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there.
Well, also talking about Denmark this morning, the president has said that Denmark can't protect Arctic territory and repeated his demand for the US to take control of Greenland.
Well, all of this as today marks exactly 1 year since President Trump returned to the White House, with protests expected in Washington, D.C. later today.
Is there going to be yet another Labour U-turn? Sir Keir Starmer opens the door to Australia-style social media bans for under-16s after more than 60 Labour MPs urged him to consider the move.
And Brooklyn Beckham speaks out. It's the family feud that has been gripping the nation as David and Victoria's son accuses them of prioritising Brown Beckham over their children and ruining his wedding day.
Prince Harry says the constant stress of reporting by the Daily Mail on his personal life left him paranoid beyond belief and caused him massive strain on his close relationships.
It's deadline day for the decision on whether to grant China permission for a new London super embassy.
And some sport this morning. Brighton and Bournemouth play out a 1-1 draw with a disputed penalty and a brilliant last-minute overhead kick. The Champions League is back tonight with a tough game for under-pressure Spurs manager Thomas Frank. Morocco threatening legal action after the bizarre AFCON final that they lost on Sunday.
A little bit brighter out there today for many places, and many places will be dry. But the main exception will be in the south and west, where a band of heavy rain moves in, and we've got a warning in place for the winds. Warning in place later in the week across eastern Scotland for the rain as well. Full details on all of that coming shortly.
But before all of that, thank you very much indeed for your company, whether you're watching or whether you're listening. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. You just catch me reading Sir David Beckham as Sir Keir Starmer. Just
Too
muscle
many
memory,
sirs.
too many sirs.
Brooklyn, you've got more problems than you thought you had, just to let you know.
Sir Keir Starmer is your dad. Tell me you work in news without telling me you work in news. I just see a sir.
Or formerly worked in news is the way things are going, yeah.
Sir Keir Starmer. No, Sir David Beckham, as he is
Absolutely.
now known.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Or the artist formerly known as Dad, as far as Brooklyn's concerned, yeah.
That's also true. Just wanted to clear that one up this morning. Should we look at our top news?
Yeah, President Trump has lashed out at Britain on his Truth Social website.
It's going very well this morning, isn't it?
Describing the decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius as a great stupidity. Now, it may be a great stupidity to me because I thought we'd already done all of this. And it comes as the president says Denmark can't protect Greenland, as he repeats his demand for control over the Arctic territory.
We have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, you know, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property. So we'll be talking about it with the various people. We've had tremendous success, and I've done more for NATO than anybody else. I don't think you'd have NATO right now. I got them to go 5% and pay as opposed to 2% and not pay. I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far. And we'll see how that goes, but Greenland is very important.
Well, the Shadow Defence Secretary, James Cartledge, has shared his response to the comments on X, insisting that the deal shouldn't need Trump's intervention to make the government think again and spend the money on our armed forces instead.
Right, we're going to have a lot of debate and discussion on this with our political correspondent, Catherine Foster, and American political commentator, Jennifer Ewing, on this one. Well, Catherine, it's given you a busy morning, hasn't it?
Oh, my goodness. You know, they say a week is a long time in politics, a day's a long time, an hour is a long time in politics. This broke just shortly before 7 o'clock. Of course, all the Greenland row is still going on and escalating, Trump doubling down. But now the Chagos Islands. Yesterday, the Prime Minister called for calm discussion between allies on Greenland, and this morning he'll be getting up to find that Donald Trump has accused us of an act of total weakness, an act of great stupidity, and put our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, the word brilliant in inverted commas.
So sarcasm?
Over, I would say so, over the Chagos Islands. Now, bear in mind, this is a deal which the government has done, which they have told us was essential for our security, to give away the Chagos Islands to Mauritius and to lease back Diego Garcia, where we've got a vital US-UK military base for 100 years at a cost of tens of billions of pounds. They've said they have no choice because there was a legal ruling, which was advisory, that said we had to do this. Donald Trump had previously said that this sounded like a good deal when asked about it. I have to say, I wondered at the time whether he was really across the detail of it. Of course, there's a lot of things in the world, and now it seems that he has woken up to what's going on. He doesn't like it. Nigel Farage in the last hour has tweeted, "Thank goodness Trump has vetoed the surrender of the Chagos Islands." Now, the reason that this matters is because it's a joint US-UK military base. The US has had to give it the go-ahead, and it has. And it's working its way through the House of Commons and the House of Lords. In fact, it's in the Commons this afternoon. The US had previously said we're fine with it. It sounds like they've changed their mind. And, of course, the Chagosian people who were booted out in the 1960s against their will are very much opposed to this deal, and they have not been consulted.
Well, we are going to speak to Chagosian shortly, Catherine, so we can get some reaction, some instant reaction from them. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date with those posts in the past few hours.
Well, Jennifer Ewing, you're watching this stuff. I mean, are you as bewildered as we are as to how quickly your president changes his mind?
Actually, I tend to agree with what Catherine said. I do not think he was paying attention the first time he was asked that question about Chagos. It didn't make sense that he would answer in that way a couple of months ago. And of course, now he's paid attention to it because it suits his argument, you know, around Greenland. And he wants to basically reiterate the point that he doesn't feel that Europe can protect itself. He's now using this conveniently as an example. So whether it is a U-turn, I think it's more that he wasn't paying attention. Not an excuse, by the way. Not an excuse.
Yeah, but a lot of people are questioning his mental capabilities, and they think they see a cognitive decline.
Look, I mean, are these, I'm guessing, the same people that watched President Biden for 4 years, you know, in the deep throes of dementia? So take that with a grain of salt. Look, the man is 80 years old. I just, as a general thought, a year into his second term of his presidency, I think the leaders in my country, the United States, are too old, you know? So we probably do need to, you know, have a discussion about that. But we are where we are. He's an 80-year-old man. I do not think that any of the decisions he's making, as crazy as they might seem, they're logical to him. You know, again, he really does feel that Europe should not be left in charge of anything to do with the United States security. Yeah. But I don't think those decisions are made because of any cognitive decline.
President Trump is going to be in Davos this week with European leaders. Some tense conversations could be happening there on the sidelines. He's also going to make a speech. What do you think we're going to hear from President Trump this week? Can we predict what we're going to hear from him?
Well, I mean, I think you can predict that it'll be somewhat bombastic. I think he'll come in with guns blazing. You'll remember last year he called out some of the big American bankers and globalists. So I think this time probably the UK and Europe will get the brunt of what he has to say, unless, of course, these talks, a lot of the hopefully bilateral talks. I mean, yesterday I was suggesting that the best thing for the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, would have been to grab Trump as soon as he can. I know it's easier said than done, and have a one-on-one conversation with him. I think it's a really important moment for the UK. We know Trump likes bilateral agreements. We know he likes bilateral discussions, not these large supranational organizations. That's why he loved Brexit, quite frankly. So I'm wondering if he's not going to use the time at Davos to have a one-on-one with the likes of, our Prime Minister and try to peel him away from the rest of Europe and say, hey, let's do this together.
Catherine, what is he going to get at Davos this week? And who's he going to be up against? Do you actually think the European leaders will give it to him straight?
Well, Europe really needs to stay together on this, and we know that the EU find that incredibly difficult. The Prime Minister is still taking a very softly approach. Emmanuel Macron is playing hardball, threatening £93 billion of retaliatory tariffs. So it will be very interesting to see. I think the face-to-face contact will be valuable. We know that the Prime Minister and Giorgia Meloni have both spoken to him over the phone and said, look, there's been a misunderstanding here. We sent a very small number of troops to Greenland, the UK and these 7 other countries to try to reassure you that we are taking security in the Arctic seriously. It was not against America. I think face-to-face contact will be very valuable. But, things are moving very fast. President Macron and the Prime Minister taking different approaches to try to get the same ends. But, for example, this board of peace that President Trump is floating for Gaza, though it sounds like it might be broader, President Macron has said he's not interested in joining. Trump is wanting $1 billion for a permanent place on that. And apparently Trump is now threatening huge tariffs on French champagne if President Macron does not join.
But is it one thing publicly and one thing privately? Because President Trump has also posted a private message from President Macron, a text message on Truth Social this morning. And from President Macron, he suggests that he's going to set up a meeting in Paris after Davos. He's going to invite the Ukrainians, the Danish, the Syrians, the Russians, and everybody can have a meeting together. He then says, let's have a dinner together in Paris before you go back to the US. So playing hardball in public, but actually wanting to have those bilaterals, like you say, Jennifer.
And look, and at the risk of sounding just too MAGA or to America first, do the Europeans really have a leg to stand on? They cannot afford to get in a trade war with the United States of America. That's just the fact. I mean, you have Germany, France, and indeed the UK have all of the politicians there that are in charge have really low ratings. They're looking at, if elections were today, right-leaning populist candidates taking over in all 3 of those countries. So do they really want to get into a trade war with the United States? No. Nor does the United States want to get into a big trade war with these countries. I don't think that'll happen. I think it's the same playbook that we saw back on Liberation Day. 6 months ago, you're going to see the markets go up and down around this. But I don't think that'll happen in the end. It's being used as a negotiating tool.
OK.
Catherine, Jennifer, thank you both very much indeed. We'll
Thank
leave
you,
it there.
ladies.
Thank you.
Lots of you getting in touch on this morning. AM says President Trump has nailed it when he says that the UK and Starmer giving away the Chagos Islands was an act of great stupidity. Couldn't agree more. Dave says, I would feel safer if the US owned Greenland. It is highlighting precisely how weak we all are in Europe right now. Andrew says, well said, Mr. Trump. The Chagos Island deal was just a money spinner for all concerned, apart from the Chagossians. And Bobby says Trump has now realised just how incompetent Sir Keir Starmer is.
Prince Harry has returned back to England and back into the legal spotlight as he faces a 9-week privacy trial against the Daily Mail newspaper.
Well, the Duke of Sussex says that the constant stress of reporting by the Mail on his personal life has left him paranoid beyond belief, causing massive strain on his close relationships.
Well, his lawyers say 14 articles used private information obtained unlawfully, claims the publisher strongly denies.
Well, meanwhile, his father, King Charles, says that he's too busy to see his son whilst he is up in Scotland. Well, joining us now from outside the court is GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker. Very good morning to you, Cameron. And what are we expecting to hear today?
Well, good morning, Ellie. Well, it's day 2, isn't it, here at court. Prince Harry expects to arrive here a little bit later on this morning. He's on a number of the broadsheet front pages this morning, interestingly not tabloids. But I was in court all of yesterday with Prince Harry, about 10 metres away from him, watching him listen to his barrister David Sherborne set out his opening arguments as to why Harry believes he is a victim of unlawful information gathering from Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday journalists, and that the publisher of the Mail on Sunday is Associated Newspapers. Now, sources close to Harry tell me that yesterday was a blistering day of evidence and embarrassing for Associated Newspapers, but they deny all the allegations made against them. And there was one suggestion from the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday's barrister that a number of the stories written about Harry, the source of those stories, were actually so-called leaks from Harry's close circle of friends. But that is certainly not what Prince Harry's barrister David Sherborne KC is arguing. He is saying that articles written between 2001 and 2013 were gross breach of privacy and the result of private investigators unlawfully gathering information on Harry and then passing that information on to Mail journalists to write stories about him, using phone hacking, for example, as a method, and also blagging. There was one example cited in court where the private flight records of his then-girlfriend Chelsea Davy were passed on to a Mail journalist with a specific seat number of a British Airways flight between London Heathrow and Cape Town. And then there was a suggestion in an email chain between that private investigator and the Mail journalist that they should actually plant somebody next to Chelsea Davy on the flight to try and get information about Prince Harry. Now, in written testimony, Harry said that it is disturbing to feel that my every move, thought or feeling was being tracked and monitored just for the Mail to make money out of it. Intrusion that was terrifying for loved ones, creating a massive strain on personal relationships while creating distrust and suspicion and driving me paranoid beyond belief and isolating me. Harry is only one of 7 claimants in this case. Elton John is another one, David Furnish, his husband, the actresses Sadie Frost, Liz Hurley, and the former Liberal Democrat minister Sir Simon Hughes and Baroness Doreen Lawrence, all of them clubbing together. One of the reasons for that is the legal cost is just so unbelievably high. The total legal cost for both sides is expected to be around £40 million. But unlike Harry's separate case for unlawful information gathering against the Sun newspaper, the Mail are not settling out of court. They are prepared to fight. They're getting their journalists to give evidence inside the courtroom, trying to defend the integrity of their journalism. Harry going to be here a little bit later on this morning for day 2, and he will give evidence later this week. A spokesperson for him tells me he's confident and ready.
Thank you, Cameron.
You're going to bring that all to us in the next 9 weeks. Thank you very much, Cameron. Now let's get a check on the weather with Alex Deacon. I fear it's going to be very wet for the next few days. He's got the details.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland, 1 or 2 showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperature about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, good news from 9:30 this morning on Britain's Newsroom. Tell us more, Ellie.
Well, Andrew Pearce is going to be reunited on screen with his old sparring par and co-host of Pearce vs Maguire podcast, Kevin Maguire himself. On the show, 9:30, it's going to be absolute guaranteed fireworks, so you don't want to miss that. They couldn't be apart for long, so we've reunited them here on GB News.
Very good, very good. We could reunite you with a lot of money you never had in the first place. 85 grand, our biggest cash giveaway to date. Have a go.
There's only 2 weeks left to ensure you're in the draw to win our biggest cash prize so far. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane from Manchester and I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. It is real and it does happen to everyday people like myself, and that one text has just made my life 100% better.
But you have to hurry, as lines close on Friday the 30th of January. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I saw the other day, I was walking down the street and there was a toddler with an iPhone holder attached to its buggy, you know, just staring blankly at this screen. That toddler wasn't on social media, it wasn't interacting with it, but it was still a screen. And of course, we've now got EdTech being rolled out across more and more schools. So the kids just can't get away from the screens. Sometimes that is down to, you know, parental involvement, parental responsibility. Often it's not. Often it's schools that are now mandating screen use. But all in all, it makes for a bleak and rather depressing picture of childhood.
It really does. And I mean, you know that we've discussed this. So I'm very lucky in the school that Alice is in that they will listen to me because they've got small classes. And I have got them to give Alice's homework on paper. She doesn't get a sign-on to play the games, to learn her times tables, because I tried it and I saw instantly how she was addicted to winning stars, addicted to moving to the next level without actually still learning her 5 times tables. And I think people think that it looks really cool cool for a child to learn something on a game, but actually it's not developing their brain in the way that we know it should be developed.
No, I mean, the evidence is relatively clear on this now, that certainly for primary kids and by and large for secondary kids, the evidence base that would show net benefit is it better or is it worse in pure educational attainment terms for kids to learn on screens versus old school pen and paper. The evidence is relatively clear that old school pen and paper has a number of benefits that are completely negated with screen use. So, reading, writing, literacy is absolutely core to education and learning.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Welcome back. It's Sports Time. Paul Coyte's here with us, talking about the Champions League returning.
Yes, Champions League tonight. I was just checking there. Everything was there. Bodo Glimt against Man City, Inter Milan, Arsenal, Spurs versus Borussia Dortmund. A lot of talk around Thomas Frank at the moment, Spurs manager. How long will he be manager for? It seems that results...
Is he a dead man walking?
Oh, well, I don't know whether that's the case, but results are really going against Tottenham. Fans seem to have turned against him, but I mean, is it untenable? What do you think, Eamonn? Is there any way of coming back from a situation like this?
You mention his name and you look at a lot of the top clubs, do you think they'd be happy to be associated with him? So I agree with you, there may be a trepidation of just offloading him too early.
It's tricky though, but the thing is, how long do you go on for? That's the thing. When do you pull the plug?
Right man is available.
I think that might be something to do with it.
For what it's worth, I think it's untenable.
You think so?
He's lost the fans. He's lost the dressing room.
Well, this is it. If you're at the point where the fans are against you, it's going to take something special to win them back again. So they're playing Borussia Dortmund tonight. This is Thomas Frank at his press conference, but talking about the fact of whether he's got the confidence of his bosses. Is what he said.
I've just been, how can you say, feeling the trust along the way. I've done that. I've said that every press meeting that is backing and support. I had lunch with Nick and Vinay and Johan today, so all good. I know it's part of the, how can you say, the media circus, and the only focus I have is to do everything I can for us to win tomorrow against Dortmund.
He doesn't sound confident to me. He says, "Oh yeah, nothing to see here, just a media circus."
I don't know. I see he's a very nice man, very well thought of man. But what do you do? He doesn't look like the sort that's going to come out fighting. I mean, but that's just his demeanour. So
might not be enough.
He's a good manager, but it's sometimes. And we can look at managers that have been great managers at great clubs. Sometimes they're not the right fit for the club. Whether this is the case, we're just going to have to see.
What about this new car in Formula One?
Well, people that really are into cars, especially Formula One, will love this. Have a look at this. So, F1, for those that are missing F1, teams start revealing their new cars for the next season. So lots of technical changes by everyone. This is Haas. This is Haas, first team to show off their new car. Honestly, there are people that you're a car person, I'm not a car person. So do you look at that and think, cool, look at that car?
I would be into different cars than that.
Right.
That's a racing car.
That's a racing car, yeah.
I like more... I like 4x4s.
Ford Capri.
I like a Ford Capri, yeah.
You'd like one of those with fluffy dice, yeah.
There's so many. Cars are so interesting, but there we go.
But that's the new one, so it's a US-owned team.
It looks a beast, doesn't it?
That's, you know what that is? That's your VF26.
Oh.
That's your VF26.
Right.
Narrower tyres, 50-50 split on internal combustion using sustainable fuel and electric power, because there's a lot of change with F1 this year. Cars also have a front and rear wing elements.
Yeah.
I have front and rear wing elements myself.
Well, I tried to put all my elements into a Formula One car that was Schumacher's car, yeah. And I was interviewing him, and part of the opportunity is you get into the Formula One car and, whatever. Couldn't get in, mate.
Is it rear wheels?
That was 45 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I was half the size I am now.
Right, OK.
Was it really low on the ground?
It's just I mean, that width, even you couldn't get into.
Tiny little things. Uncomfortable ride as well.
Awful.
OK.
Yeah.
Would you like some birthdays? Should we do
Please.
for your birthdays? We haven't done that for a few days. I've got some birthdays for you.
I've been doing really well at birthdays recently.
You have been, yeah. Eamonn, well, you were really good last week, weren't you?
Can't remember.
Well, you were sneezing in between them.
You were really good,
You were
yeah.
very good. Right, first one, an ex-Manchester United player to start with, Owen Hargreaves. And Bayern Munich as well before. Still's got that sort of slight English, slight German accent. Just a little German, this little hybrid accent. How old is Owen Hargreaves today, England player as well?
I'd say he's mid-40s.
OK. So when you say mid-40s, give me a number. You know the game. Come on.
46.
And try that one on with me, Mr. Holmes. 46?
I'm stabbing in the dark here. 49.
45.
Oh.
Mid-40s, exactly mid-40s.
Right.
And you went one up.
Right.
OK, I've got a couple of showbiz ones. How about this one? Tom Baker.
He's quite old.
Tom Baker, former
Baker.
Doctor Who. So that was probably about 1975. That's a few years later, but Tom Baker.
He is an eccentric man.
Wow, yes.
I've met him, and he's an acquired taste.
Amazing voice.
An acquired taste.
I saw him in Nicholas and Alexandra, which was on telly the other day, about the 1917 Russian Revolution, and he played Rara Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. He played. I don't think that was
He
the
had
song
the
was
hair
called.
already.
He did. It was all Tom Baker.
I'll say he's 82.
82. You've got to go more than that. I mean, really, I'll give you another go because he's a lot older than that.
94.
94. Eamonn, go again.
I don't think he's as old as 94, so I'd go to 90.
92. Bang in the middle for Tom Baker. A couple of quick ones. How about this one? Who do you think that is?
Buzz.
Needle.
You're right.
Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Right.
Buzz Aldrin.
Second man on the moon.
Is he still with us?
He is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I hope so, because I'm going to wish him a happy birthday.
All right,
if there's
well,
no reply, then we know.
That's good.
He's
I'd
OK.
say he's...
I'd say he's getting on up
He's
there.
knocking on as well.
He's getting on up there.
1969, of course.
Idiot.
88 for Buzz Aldrin.
The big 90.
96.
Wow.
Is Buzz Aldrin.
He's looking well. Is that a recent picture?
I know that was 50
He
years.
says, you know...
No,
That
I think he looks well there.
Yeah, but he says that those are false pictures. He says they never landed on the moon.
What, Buzz?
He says that, yeah.
I don't think he
thought
does.
he punches anybody out. Didn't he punch someone out that actually said it's fake?
Well, he said it.
No,
No, I don't think he did.
He wouldn't say that he was... Really? I know you're going to get... But
You'll get everything I say is wrong.
Oh, no, that's not the case. It's just asking. I would be surprised if that's the case, but I thought Buzz punched someone out for that. Anyway, final one, Gary Barlow. Take that.
Gary Barlow.
How old is Gary Barlow?
I'd say Gary Barlow is mid-50s.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 56.
55.
Is the right answer.
Well done.
Good, 55.
He's
Barlow.
a nice, very nice fella, you know.
Yeah.
You can get to speak to him, you know. He's a nice guy.
OK.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm Gary.
Yeah. OK, thanks, Paul.
Maybe nicer than
Thank
Buzz.
you, that was fun.
OK, good. 8:32 is the time. You're very welcome on board. And if you're out and about travelling, here's what the roads are looking like.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A9 southbound, a broken-down vehicle is partly blocking the road between Aberystwyth and Auchterarder. On the M4 eastbound, there is congestion on the junction 32 Corriton off Slip. In Leicestershire, Northamptonshire's M1 southbound at junction 19 has a vehicle fire, with 2 lanes closed, clearing around 9:27 this morning. In Warwickshire, the M40 southbound between junction 14 and junction 13 has a crash with 1 lane shut, easing by 11:19 this morning. And on the trains, cross-country is disrupted between Plymouth and Penzance, and Great Western Railway has disruption on various routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. We're joined now by Shadow Secretary for Business, Andrew Griffith. Very good morning to you, Mr. Griffith.
Good morning.
Morning. Can we start by talking about President Trump's posts on Truth Social this morning, calling out the United Kingdom for giving away Diego Garcia? He says for no reason whatsoever. He says the UK giving away extremely important land is an act of great stupidity. Do you welcome this intervention by President Trump, and where does this leave the Chagos Island deal?
Well, President Trump is absolutely right on this. Not on everything, but on this, he's absolutely right. Giving away the British Indian Ocean territories is an act of a great self-harm, self-sabotage. It damages our national security. There are assets in Diego Garcia that can see parts of the sky and parts of the radio spectrum that no others can. The idea that British taxpayers would be paying Mauritius, which has never run the islands, to take these away from our sovereign territory. And we, the Conservatives, have always opposed this deal from the very beginning. It's a terrible deal. President Trump is right, but it shouldn't need President Trump to tell our Prime Minister that this is the wrong deal to be doing.
We've got Kevin Badenoch addressing Tory MPs today. It sounds like crisis talks at Tory HQ. After the defections of Andrew Rosendale and of Robert Jenrick, are we seeing an extinction of the Tory party?
Absolutely not. You're seeing a Conservative Party with a renewed sense of purpose, focus and unity. I, like my colleagues, are here in Westminster because we want to fix some of the challenges that our country faces. Challenges like today's unemployment figures up for the 14th month in a row, youth unemployment reaching really tragic levels, the low growth that the UK is slipping down the league tables as the IMF published yesterday, and of course the crisis crisis that's going on in our high streets, particularly pubs, hospitality, but all small high street businesses that are the real bedrock of the economy in this country. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things in ordinary communities. So that's what we are focused on. I was at a meeting with Kemi last night. The morale was good, and people have got a very purposeful attitude and respect her leadership and principles.
Can I ask you about the unemployment figures? They have remained at 5.1%. That's a four-year high. What's your reaction to those figures? How do we get more people in employment?
It's a real worry. 14 consecutive months, almost the whole of this government, unemployment has been rising, youth unemployment in particular, and such jobs as are being created are in the less productive public sector. So the government's going in completely the wrong direction. You'll remember just before Christmas, so not even reflected in these numbers, they passed a 330-page red tape unemployment bill that's going to deter hiring from employers. Then we had the budget, again not reflected in these figures. Completely the wrong direction. We need some radical deregulation. Everything in this country takes too long. We're not on the side of risk takers and wealth creators, and it's all the Chancellor's policies that are doing this. She shouldn't be zooming off to Davos to hobnob with global elites when she has left a crisis in her wake here on UK high streets.
And finally, just before we let you go, Mr Griffith, do you think Sir Keir Starmer is right in his handling over the Greenland situation and President Trump? We held that speech yesterday. We won't see retaliatory tariffs, but he did say that Trump's decision over Greenland is wrong.
Yeah, on this, the Prime Minister has our cross-party support. We don't think it's right to get into economic tit-for-tat. Tariffs would damage cost of living here in the UK, as well as the interests of our great British exporters. But where he could go much, much further is to immediately shelve his damaging self-harm, giving away the Chagos Islands. That's not going to get respect in the eyes of the US. Security comes through a strong defence, through a commitment to our own national security. Giving away or even paying Mauritius to take away the British Indian Ocean territory with its Diego Garcia US base is sending all the wrong signals. It has from the start, and the Prime Minister should be U-turning now on that to show some strength, show some backbone.
Well, he's the Shadow Secretary for Business and Trade. He is Andrew Griffith. And Andrew, we thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, thank you. Do stay with us. Still to come, politicians are reacting to President Trump's criticism of the Chagos deal, which he has branded as great stupidity. We're going to cover that and much more in the papers with Anna and Norman. But first, here is your European forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Further wet and windy weather in and around the Mediterranean, particularly for parts of southern Italy and Greece. A very soggy day in Athens, likely on Wednesday, with a gusty wind here. Some of that wet and windy weather also affecting parts of Croatia and southern Italy. Northern Italy turning drier, along with Corsica. Drier too on Wednesday across the Balearics, but another weather system sitting in the Bay of Biscay, bringing more showery rain to Portugal and more western parts of Spain. Showers in Madeira, sunny spells in the Canaries.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and this is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good for your mental health, able to chat to other men about things that are bothering you or just have a natter.
The club meets apparently at an Essex pub at 8 o'clock every Sunday. So they should be meeting now. We've sent our reporter down there to see what it's all about.
Yes.
She's GB News reporter Bethany Elsey, and I think she's there. Bethany, a very good morning to you. What's going on?
Good morning to you both. Good morning to you both. And you're absolutely right. Dozens of people have turned out here in Brentwood for this countryside walk to support men's mental health. It is, of course, all set up by the famous entrepreneur Thomas Skinner, who joins me now.
And my lovely mate Rob.
Rob. And Rob Heisey, who is a therapist. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank
Thomas,
you.
why have you set up this event?
I just feel like, look, listen, like, us blokes don't talk to each other enough. We're always going to work, grafting, looking after the family, but we never talk about us, never look after us. And there ain't nothing out there really around this way for people to sit down, have a little chat, have a cup of tea, enjoy the countryside, just blokes supporting blokes. That's all it's about, you know what I mean? Nice and early Sunday morning, before you do your bits and pieces, and we can relax.
And Thomas, it's the second event of its kind. The first was last Sunday. You had about 80 people turn out now. There's dozens more here today. It's a real sense of community here.
Yeah, do you know what's lovely is shaking everyone's hand so far this morning. People that come from all over, not just from around here. People that come from Bethnal Green, people that come from Dartford. One guy's come from Canterbury, and obviously all the locals turn up too. We've got just over 80 people. I think we're going to get more than 100 today, and look, hopefully it grows. The more, the merrier. Yeah, all we are, we just want to look after each other, put our arms around each other, and have a nice walk, and just say, you know what, it's all right.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
We're back going through the papers with Norman Baker and Anna Firth. Anna, let's have a look at Labour looking into a ban on social media for under-16s.
Yes.
Backbenchers are very supportive of this.
Yes. Well, I mean, this isn't actually a Labour policy. This is a welcome U-turn from Keir Starmer. I think this is his 14th U-turn in which he is now accepting that the Conservative proposal from Laura Trott as Education Secretary and backed up by Kemi Badnoch to ban under-16s from social media is actually a very good idea. And 60 Labour MPs have written saying they support this. And so I'm very pleased, actually, that the government have U-turned and are now supporting this. The idea is to have a consultation. The idea is to see how this ban goes in Australia. But the fact of the matter is that we've got teenagers spending hours and hours on social media. That's one problem. The bigger problem is that we've got children who have died due to things like the breathing challenge on TikTok. You know, Isaac Kenivan, Archie Battersby, who was a child in my constituency in Leigh-on-Sea. And if you go on to TikTok and you look at these blackout challenges, it is horrendous how you're encouraged to hold your breath, and this little emoji is saying go on, go on, go on.
Yeah,
and and the children get sucked into it. And the algorithms, if they go on it once, the algorithm kicks in and will then feed them more and more of this sort of stuff. So I really think this is an area where the government does need to step in. It's impossible for parents to police this on their own.
Well, we were speaking to a mother yesterday who'd lost her 14-year-old son, Jules, on one of these TikTok challenges. It's a blackout challenge. And she says she doesn't know what he was watching because TikTok won't actually give the data of what a child was looking at. But she says she has CCTV of him on a Ring doorbell footage 45 minutes before he died. He's happy, he's smiling, he's with his friends. He then went into his room, was scrolling on TikTok, and then died 45 minutes later. And she does not know what he was exposed to in that time. And I asked her at the end of our interview yesterday, would you welcome a total ban? And she said, absolutely. It's what needs to happen to protect children.
I think it's undesirable that children have got so addicted to social media. And what we could certainly do is ban mobile phones and any other such devices in schools where it's a controlled environment. And it's ridiculous that children have mobile phones in schools, in my view, and use them.
There's a ban now in 60% of schools.
There is, but why not 100? Why not 100? I mean, the only issue I've got, now I support this in principle, the only issue I've got is we have to make sure, first of all, the Australian system works. We've got to monitor that and make sure it's been effective. But secondly, we don't want to have children then disappearing into the dark web. and to alternatives which they might be able to find. So we have to make sure that doesn't happen.
One of the simplest things, when years ago when I was a counsellor for Internet Safety Week, I rolled out an internet challenge across Kent for children not to have their mobile phones in their bedrooms overnight. It was called Digital Sunset Challenge, and they had to put them, and we gave a prize to any family that could do this for a week. How many families do you think claimed that prize?
Oh, well, only a week.
They had to do it for a week. The kids had to put the phones in there outside their bedrooms for 1 week.
Quite a big response to that, but obviously I'm thinking you're going to tell me no.
There was a huge response to taking part, but not a single family said that they could complete it.
That's very worrying.
Really.
Wow.
And that was about 10 years ago.
I should just say, a TikTok spokesperson says we strictly prohibit content that promotes or encourages dangerous behaviour.
Well, they don't, do they? They're rather slow at dealing with it when it appears.
Well, there is a case being held in the US at the moment. There's a number of British mums, including Archie Battersby's mum, holding TikTok to account. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Let's talk about cows. This is in the Telegraph, and it's the first evidence that cattle, actually can tell what a tool is for.
Yes, so this is a very interesting story. Veronica is an Austrian cow who has been spotted using tools, not only using tools to brush herself, but actually using different parts of the tools. So she'll use a stiff brush to brush her back, but she'll turn it round to a softer side for brushing her underside. And this is actually, whilst we've been talking about the dangers of social media, this is actually a positive, because the owners put this out on social media. It was picked up by a laboratory in Vienna who've now done a study of Veronica and say we might well be underestimating the intelligence of the average cow.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a one-off.
The average animal, actually, because crows, for example, are also quite intelligent and use tools, as do octopuses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
they have a lot of...
And we know, of course, we know that pigs are very intelligent, which is why it's so wrong that they are put in these awful pens for so many weeks
and lorries and all
when
sorts
they have
of things
their babies, and that's something which I'm hoping that the government is going to outlaw with its new animal welfare strategy.
Well, let's hope so.
New strategy that Sainsbury has introduced, Norman, and this is this helps against shoplifting and its facial recognition. Tell us more.
They're using facial recognition in their stores. They're part of a group of shops, I think. There's something called Face Watch, which is linked up with Sports Direct and other such traders. And they issued 516,000 alerts last year of people who they suspected might be shoplifting. It's cut their shoplifting by 46%. Wow. And it's been a 92% drop in offenders returning to the shops. So all that seems very good news, particularly as the police, frankly, don't ever deal with shoplifting these days, and it's a freebie for the criminal. Yeah. The only issue is, and obviously some people feel concerned that this is Big Brother watch, that we've got moving towards a situation where people are continually monitored, even if they're completely innocent. Now, people may think it's a price worth paying, and you could also argue that you don't have to go into Sainsbury's. It's a private business. If you don't want to go in there, you don't have to go in there. But nevertheless, that concern has been expressed. But clearly, it is effective at tackling shoplifting.
Which is, so endemic. I mean, I'm actually all in favour of this, because it's so annoying going into shops and finding so many products are having to be behind glass, and you've got to get someone to actually come and undo the glass to get, to buy a mascara, because people are nicking things. So actually, I'm all for something which is going to make the criminals actually get caught and let us, the public, who just want to buy things, have a better experience.
Except it may divert the criminals from Sainsbury's to a small corner shop.
Yeah. It may be, but it's not expensive technology, and I think even a small corner shop could buy a small camera and have it trained up the aisles.
Well, let us know what you think on that one. gbnews.com/You'll Say. Norman, very briefly, you want to talk about bones being reassembled.
Them bones, dry bones. They've been around for centuries, and for the last 14 years, The Mortuary Chests Project has been reassembling the bones of ancient monarchs like King Canute and William Rufus and Queen Emma. People have heard of Queen Emma? Going back 1,000-odd years. They were all mixed up in the Civil War back in the 16th, 17th, whatever it was, 16th century, was it? 17th century. And they've been putting them all back together in their own particular combinations, which seems to me to be an interesting kind of jigsaw, but taken 14 years to get to that point.
It's taken 14 years to put the bones back together.
And to find out which bone belongs to which person.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a job.
Just ask the cows to do it.
That's right.
Norman, Anna, thank you very much for your company today. Do let us know what you think on any of those stories. As always, we love to hear from you. But for now, let's get a check on the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland, 1 or 2 showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperatures about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across our social media platforms. We're truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M4 eastbound, there's congestion on the junction 32 Corryton off-slip. The A9 southbound is partially blocked between Aberystwyth and Auchterarder due to a broken-down vehicle. In Cheshire, the M53 southbound is slow between Junction 5 and Junction 9. In Hertfordshire, the A1M southbound is busy between Junction 9 and Junction 7. In Bristol, the M32 northbound has a crash between Junction 3 and Junction 2 with one lane shut. And on the trains, cross-country is disrupted between Plymouth and Penzance, and Great Western Railway reports disruption on various routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. Oh, definitely please enter. It is real, and that one text has just made my life 100% better.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Breaking this morning, Donald Trump calls Britain's decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius a great stupidity.
Writing on Truth Social, he said, shockingly, our brilliant NATO ally, the United Kingdom, is currently planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital US military base, to Mauritius, and do so for no reason whatsoever.
The Prime Minister signed the Chagos deal last May after declaring it was the only way to protect Diego Garcia.
Yes, well, the US president was previously sounding happy enough with this deal, but we know he is changeable. The Chagos bill is back in the House of Commons today. Could this be the end of the road for us giving the Chagos Islands to Mauritius?
To have it, they have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there.
Well, also this morning, the American president has said Denmark can't protect Arctic territory and repeated his demand for America to take control of Greenland.
Well, all of this today marks exactly 1 year since President Trump returned to the White House, with protests expected in Washington, D.C. later today.
Unemployment remaining at 5.1%. That is stuck at a 4-year high. Those figures released in the past couple of hours.
Sir Keir Starmer's small boats record is officially worse than any of his predecessors. That's an exclusive from GB News this morning. Nearly 66,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel since Labour have come to power.
Well, this is one record that Sir Keir Starmer won't want to boast about. The number of small boat crossings under his tenure in Downing Street, twice as bad as under Boris Johnson.
We've been talking about a social media ban on social media for under 16s. Is it another U-turn on the way for Sir Keir Starmer?
And Brooklyn Beckham has spoken out. It's the family feud that's gripping the country as his dad, Sir David, and Victoria's son accuse them of prioritising Brand Beckham over their children and ruining his wedding. I think we're going to have those stories and much more.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back to GB News Breakfast.
President Trump has lashed out at Britain on Truth Social, describing the decision to hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. He says that is great stupidity.
Well, it comes as the president says that Denmark cannot protect Greenland, as he repeats his demand for control over the Arctic territory.
We have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, you know, because a boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property. So we'll be talking about it with the various people. We've had tremendous success, and I've done more for NATO than anybody else. I don't think you'd have NATO right now. I got them to go 5% and pay as opposed to 2% and not pay. I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far, and we'll see how that goes. But Greenland is very important.
Shadow Defence Secretary James Cartledge has shared his response to the comments on X, insisting that the deal shouldn't need Trump's intervention to make the government think again and spend the money on our armed forces instead. Well, let's speak now to our chief political correspondent, Catherine Forster. It's been a busy morning for you, Catherine. President Trump's been very busy on Truth Social.
He really has. I think the conversation about defence spending and the rate at which we're going to have to increase it is one that is going to have to be revisited. But yes, just before 7 o'clock, Donald Trump tweeted about the Chagos Islands. Now, it's only a few months that he said that it sounded like a good deal. As Jennifer Ewing just said to you a little bit earlier, I suspect that he was not really across the detail. There's a number of people in the UK who've been very worried about this. I've just been off the phone from one of them who have been trying to get the details of this in front of Donald Trump very urgently, because the bill is currently in the House of Commons. Due to be ratified soon, and it sounds like they've succeeded. So now he has tweeted and put the UK with, quotes, brilliant NATO ally, but sarcastic, I suspect, and saying that we're giving away the Chagos Islands, quote, for no reason whatsoever, and that it's an act of total weakness and an act of great stupidity. Just to remind viewers and listeners, The Chagos Islands we are giving to Mauritius. We're paying tens of millions to do it. And then we are leasing back Diego Garcia, that's got this critical military base that we share with America. Now, the government says it has no choice. There was a legal ruling. I have to say it was an advisory, but they're saying that they had no choice but to give it to Mauritius and lease it back. The opposition parties think this is a very bad idea on cost and on national security grounds. And I've just been talking to somebody who is claiming that the US has to ratify this, and in fact that the US have not yet signed this off. They do have a veto. They are having a rethink. So it could be that the Chagosians, who've been saying for a long time, why is no one listening to us? We don't want this deal to be done, might be saved by Donald Trump. Nigel Farage has said, thank goodness Donald Trump has vetoed the surrender of the Chagos Islands. Kemi Badenoch, Conservative leader, has said that it is a terrible policy which weakens our security. And on this, President Trump is right.
OK, we'll actually get the view of a British Chagosian now. Vanessa Kalu, very good morning to you, Vanessa. What do you make of this post from President Trump calling the Chagos Islands surrender an act of great stupidity? Do you welcome his intervention?
Yes, I'm really, really happy that the President Donald Trump realized what the Prime Minister of the UK is doing with the military base of Diego Garcia. Those islands belong to British and need to stay British. We have self-determination that the Sagosian is required, that the UK Minister Keir Starmer is ignoring us. So self-determination is a key. We need to save this US base. We are as a government in exile, we are ready to engage for the US base that at the moment is in perpetuity.
Do you hope that President Trump's intervention here means that the deal is vetoed, that this is effectively your way out?
Yes, so this is what we are expect. I always said I have hope. I have hope with the President Donald Trump that he will get involved and stop this madness. This island belongs to United Kingdom for more than 200 years, that is ceded from France. Why they are giving away is not belong to Mauritius. Mauritius was just an administration from the government, UK government at the time. We are not returning any island. This island is not belong to Mauritius. We had indigenous people, the Sagosian, who are fleeing Mauritius. They are here in the UK. They want their homeland to remain British, and this is what the all MP in Parliament today need to vote against this Chagos deal. This bill needs to go away and start engaging with the Chagosian government in exile, Mr. Mandarin.
So are you angry that things have got this far, that the Chagosians haven't had their say so far?
I'm really upset with the Prime Minister. He failed his duty as Prime Minister because he has his own agenda with his friend, Philip's son, who are the lawyer for Mauritius, and then his another friend, Law Hammer. I'm so upset about what this is going at this stage. They need to stop this Chagos deal. All the MP who will be voting today in Parliament need to take responsibility what they are voting. This is a human right of self-determination of the Sagosian that did not respected. They need to respect people, and people in the UK did not vote for sovereignty to give away. On Keir Starmer Labour manifesto, they didn't mention that will give away British homeland. That need to be stopped.
OK. Vanessa, really good to have your voice on this morning. Thank you so much for reacting to this news this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Are we going to hear Catherine Foster's voice there?
Yes, just picking up on that, that it wasn't in the manifesto that they would give the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Not only was it not in the manifesto, it explicitly said that Britain would protect our overseas territories. The government's argument is this is how you do this is how you keep the lease. But I'm getting all these messages from an expert. It's all very complicated, but the bottom line is that critics are saying they've ignored the human rights of the Chagossians, which were booted out of the island 60 years ago. The Prime Minister's a former human rights lawyer, very concerned with the sovereignty of the people of Greenland. Why not the people of the Chagos Islands who have not really been consulted? And on international law, the involvement of Philip Sands and Richard Hermer, both close friends of the Prime Minister. Philip Sands has worked for the Mauritian government.
OK, Catherine.
More from this, Catherine, as the week progresses.
Now, at 14 minutes past 9, Sir Keir Starmer's record on handling small boat migrants is worse than that of his predecessors. GB News can exclusively reveal that in the first 19 months of his premiership, over 65,870 migrants completed the dangerous 21-mile journey across the English Channel.
Now, that number surpasses the 65,815 migrants recorded during Boris Johnson's time in office. Joining us now, our Home and Security Editor, Mr. Mark White, with his take on things. Mark?
Yeah, good morning to you. This is, one where we've been drilling down. Our colleague Jack Walters and the digital team has been drilling down deep into the numbers here. And actually what it shows is that you have Sir Keir Starmer's record on small boat crossings is twice as bad as that of Boris Johnson. So in the 39 months, so just over 3 years that Boris Johnson was in power, some 65,815 small boat migrants crossed. That equated to roughly, if you extrapolate that, 58 migrants for single day that Boris Johnson was in power. Now, Sir Keir Starmer has managed to surpass that in about half the time. He's had 19 months in office, and now we're already at 65,874-ish. And that equates to 117 small boat migrants in every single day that Sir Keir Starmer has been in office. So twice as bad. And actually, if you compare it to Rishi Sunak, it's another one, he was in office for 22 months with about 50,000 migrants who crossed in that time, equating to about 81 migrants for every day that he was in power. So you can absolutely see in the figures that Sir Keir Starmer has got the worst record, and the figures are only going in one direction, which is not good, because the avowed aim of Sir Keir Starmer when he came into office was that he would scrap the Rwanda deal, which he described as a gimmick, and instead he would use all his years of experience as a former director of public prosecutions and embark on a law enforcement approach, try to smash the criminal gangs. Demonstrably, that's not happened. The numbers are still coming across. We're in January and already 930 odd have crossed, despite the horrific conditions out there in the Channel for most days during January.
So what's going on here, Mark? Why are more people crossing the Channel? Is it a lack of deterrent, or perhaps the human trafficking gangs are getting more sophisticated?
They're definitely getting more sophisticated, and they know the biggest draw of all is if you cross the English Channel, the chances of you actually being removed are fairly limited. We know that only about 5% of the 190-odd thousand people who've crossed the English Channel since 2018 have ever been removed in that time. So most, if they're not granted asylum, get indefinite leave to remain, or are in the kind of position where you can't send them back to a country like Afghanistan or Iran and a myriad of other countries, because human rights lawyers would be able to argue it's not safe to do that.
OK, Mark White, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. And you'll appreciate us if you are to win the Great British Giveaway. Here it is.
There's only 2 weeks left to ensure you're in the draw to win our biggest cash prize so far. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
Hi, I'm Jane from Manchester. I won £54,321 with the Great British Giveaway. It is real and it does happen to everyday people like myself. And that one text has just made my life 100% better.
But you have to hurry, as lines close on Friday the 30th of January. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News week commencing 9th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, in an explosive series of social media posts, Brooklyn Beckham has accused his parents, Sir David and Victoria, of trying to ruin his marriage and mistreating his wife, Nicola.
Well, the eldest Beckham boy said, "My mum hijacked my first dance at my wedding with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a very romantic song. She danced very inappropriately in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life."
Well, of course, Brooklyn Beckham has been embroiled in a vicious row with his parents ever since his marriage to the American heiress Nicola Peltz. But this is the first time that he has spoken publicly about the family feud.
Well, we're joined now by showbiz journalist Stephanie Tetchy with her take on this. This is, I think it's every newspaper I can see. This is the headline here this morning.
The penny has truly dropped and Brand Beckham has been tarnished by these explosive claims by Brooklyn Beckham. Clearly, he's been waiting months. I think this has been 26 years in the making for him to get this off his chest of what he has against his parents. Look, every newspaper in this country, if not the world, has had their say about what's happened in this Beckham feud. You go onto any of their profiles, Brooklyn Beckham, Nicola Peltz, they've been scrutinised by the public for disowning his family. So I think this was his moment to say, actually, let me clear up a few things of what has been said in the news. He's gone about it in completely the wrong way, but he said it in that first line. I do not want to reconcile with my family. So he's got nothing to lose. He's got nothing to protect when it comes to upholding this image that he says that Sir David Beckham and Victoria Beckham have curated over the years of them being this wholesome family. He says he's been controlled by his parents all of his life. He says he suffered anxiety. I know a lot of viewers are thinking, what a spoilt brat who's been born with the silver spoon in his mouth. But a thing with a lot of children who are born to famous parents, they didn't ask to be born into this lifestyle. And there is an inherent poison chalice that comes with this fame, especially if you go on to marry another famous person as well.
I worry that he's going to regret this, though, Stephanie, because I don't know if you can come back from this kind of explosive rant about your parents, especially his mother.
But what has he got to worry about? I mean, he's landed in an incredibly rich family from one to another.
But, Eamonn, he better pray that it lasts, because now that you've disowned your whole family, what happens if it doesn't work out with Nicola?
What way would the other kids in the family be responding to this?
This is who my heart actually goes out to, because they've lost a sibling and they're seeing their parents at war with their elder brother. Someone like Cruz Beckham has been very vocal over the past few months, said, my parents did not block Brooklyn. We don't understand what's going on. And, of course, Cruz is going out with Kim Turnbull, who apparently is Brooklyn's ex. So I think the siblings are the ones who lose out here quite a bit. And, you know, they're probably all waking up feeling the heat of their family being thrown into the public eye. But at the same time, this is a family who's been in the public eye for over 25 years.
Well, how do you think Brand Beckham, as Brooklyn would describe them, are going to react to all of this? Because silence so far from the Beckham camp.
I think right now they're thinking thinking about damage control, how to fix this.
Who looks as though they're damaged most in
I
this?
think it's David Beckham, because David Beckham, I think, has much more to lose in terms of his image as a family man.
Yes,
He's
yes.
now a Sir David Beckham. But Victoria, come on, dancing inappropriately at your son's wedding and for it coming out that you called your son evil.
Dancing on
him inappropriately. Now, I guarantee you, Eamonn and Ellie, people are going to be looking for those videos. And within the next week, we're going to see those videos coming out. So he's opened a can of worms for each and single member of that family, and it's all coming. The drama's just beginning.
We know what you'll be doing for the rest of the day.
Oh, stop it. I'm all about peace, love and family.
Oh,
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Always good to see you. Now, Britain's Newsroom, coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
You've got a special treat on today's show, haven't you?
We have. My old sparring partner, Kevin Maguire, who I used to be often clashing with on Good Morning Britain until a few weeks ago. He's on today. We will be talking politics, we will be disagreeing, and he's going to become a regular fixture of GB News.
Brilliant
there he
stuff.
is.
You couldn't be apart for long, could you, Andrew?
Obviously,
Joined at the hip, but not politically.
I don't think I've ever met him, so a treat in store for me. Of course, the latest on this Chagos deal. Will it be another Keir Starmer U-turn?
Disaster.
And exclusive interview with Kemi Badenoch about the fallout out from Robert Jenrick's defection. All after your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Generally, things a bit brighter out there today. Still a bit of mist and fog around and quite a bit of cloud, but many areas will be dry. The main exception to that in the far southwest. West Wales, southwest England, already seeing some outbreaks of rain, and the wind's really picking up here, getting very gusty indeed. There is a Met Office yellow warning in place, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, perhaps even 60 to 65 over hills. We'll see some of that wet and windy weather extending across Northern Ireland, one or two showers in eastern England, but a good part of England and Scotland will stay dry. As I mentioned, a bit brighter than yesterday. Temperature about average, but feeling a lot colder with the wind and the rain in the southwest. A pretty grim end to the day for much of Wales and southwest England. Some heavy bursts of rain and still very lively gusts. Further east, generally still dry and fine at this stage, but the rain will be creeping its way towards the Midlands during the evening rush hour. At the same time, it should start to ease a little bit in Northern Ireland. We'll see some outbreaks of rain just filtering into southwest Scotland. A few showers across the Northern Isles perhaps, but a good part of Scotland also dry through this evening's rush hour. Now, the breeze will be picking up, coming in from the North Sea. That's going to be a feature of the weather over the next few days. The rain will extend, as I mentioned, across the Midlands, then into parts of northern England and up across Scotland, with a few showers following on behind. With enough wind, that'll help to stop any mist and fog forming, except maybe over the higher routes, and help to keep the temperatures up above freezing as well. For tomorrow, though, many places will see outbreaks of rain. We start pretty wet across a good part of Scotland, and there's those winds feeding in the heavy rain here. That could cause some issues over the next few days. The second half of the week looks very wet, so we have another Met Office yellow warning in place, and then a zone of wet weather marches northwards across all other areas. So there'll be a spell of rain for all of us at some point tomorrow, getting quite windy in places as well. Temperatures, again, close to average, 7 to 10 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you to our global community for watching and listening to GB News. We're not only the #1 news channel in Britain, we're chosen by you around the world.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M9, northbound between Junction 4 and Junction 5, there are restrictions after a road traffic collision. In East Riding of Yorkshire, the A63 westbound between the A1166 and the A15 has a broken down vehicle with one lane closed. On the A1M in Hertfordshire, southbound between Junction 9 and Junction 7, long queues are adding around 30 minutes. On the M32 in Bristol, northbound between Junction 3 and Junction 2, a collision has shut one lane, and on the trains, cross-country is disrupted between Plymouth and Penzance, and Gatwick Express between Gatwick Airport and Purley. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
Relationships, you do have to set your boundaries, which means know what is acceptable behaviour for you and don't tolerate anything else. And actually, my book, Screw You, Watch This, is called Screw You, Watch This. I thought you'd like the title.
I do like that.
It's quite punchy, but it's not screw you to your ex, it's screw you to the fear and being held back and the loneliness and your old story about what you accepted. And watch this is, right, I'm going to step up, I'm going to take my power back and let's move on to the new chapter. And it kind of is my motto and has been for many years. And I have a training school where I train people to become coaches, and that's our motto in the school because it kind of lights a bit of a fire in your belly. Screw you, watch this.
I think I've had that motto for a long time. And I can go from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds, maybe one actually. So have you found new love?
Not at the moment, Nana, so I'm going to be looking to you for some recommendations.
I'm really fussy. So, very good book. I'm looking forward to reading it. Just remind you said you've got free stuff on the website for people to go to, so what's the web address?
Yeah, so it's saradavison.com, and if anyone is struggling right now with a toxic or any kind of divorce, we have free online support groups every week, 3 hours, run by my accredited coaches that I've trained myself, and you can go on and get your questions answered and just give us a bit of support to people who need it.
OK, and very quickly, first start for somebody who's listening and watching and thinking, all right, I want to divorce my partner. What's the first thing they need to be doing?
Get your ducks in a line. Don't rush into something. First of all, if you can save the marriage and work at it, try that. If you know it's done, then look at getting your breakups team around you. So, yeah, a good friend you can confide in, a good legal advisor, financial advisor. Get the people around you who can answer the questions that keep you awake at night. It's a great way to dial down the negative emotions and start to feel a bit more in control.
GB News, the People's Channel.